Chapter 51. Ouch! It hurts so much. Ganshu spun 2.5 circles in the air, then lay on the ground, covering his swollen cheek in pain. After being hit by Mo Lin's big CT with a hardened armament color, his whole head is buzzing now. So strong. Hit a wall. Shabu, Bala, come on. Kill these two little brats. The pain in his cheek made Ganshu angry and embarrassed. He actually took advantage of my carelessness and attacked me. No moral ethics. He wanted to use his nin to teach Mo Lin a lesson. Book. When Ganshu stood up and prepared to teach Mo Lin a lesson, Shabu and Bala had already summoned the card book. In Greed Island, the way ordinary players attack each other is to use spell cards to attack the target. Perspective. ×2. The first step in the battle is to check what types of cards are in your opponent's book. Empty. Ganshu, there's not a single card in either of their book. Empty. Ganshu became even more excited when he heard this information. The other party didn't even have a chance to escape. He, I'll kill you two first. Ganshu laughed ferociously. Looking at Ganshu's expression, Mo Lin frowned slightly, turned around and said to Gon. Gon, notify Hisoka and Netero in the group to join us. The battle will be over in 5 minutes. Time is very urgent now, and Mo Lin makes sure that he can kill his opponent with one blow. But how can we make the opponent hand over the cards in his hand? This is a technical job. Bomb Demon, hey? I wonder how many cards you have on you. Mo Lin murmured. Mo Lin's nonchalant attitude made Ganshu feel very unhappy. Since you know he is the Bomb Demon, why do you still look indifferent? Get started. Da. Ganshu and the other two mobilized their mental power, concentrated it on the soles of their feet, and created wind with their steps. In the game of Greed Island, there are no cards that can directly cause damage to the players. The most primitive method is to use hand-to-hand combat. And Nin has an absolute upper hand in this game. Among the three, Ganshu was the first to bear the brunt, with telekinesis wrapped around his body, and the Nin skill leaped out from his hands. Nin is an advanced usage technique of Nin. A pinch of gunpowder to start. Bang! When Ganshu punched Mo Lin's chest, his fist was covered with powerful thoughts to protect himself, and it exploded the moment it touched Mo Lin. Bomb Demon! A voice as light as a fly sounded. At the moment of the explosion, Ganshu stepped back, raised the corners of his mouth, and looked at his masterpiece with a grim face. What a perfect explosion! I wonder what shape this will create on my body. Although this move is an instant version of the sound of life, it is still fatal to the weak human body. Swoosh, swoosh. A breeze blew by, and the smoke from the explosion on Mo Lin dissipated. How is this possible? Ganshu looked at Mo Lin in front of him, and his originally ferocious face changed into one of confusion and fear. Mo Lin in front of me was dark all over, but he was still shining under the sunlight. There wasn't a single tear on his clothes. The explosion just now didn't cause any damage at all. Oh no! Hurry up! When Ganshu realized that the other party might be a dark iron plate, his first reaction was to escape. In the game of Greed Island, escaping is a very simple thing. Magnetism, migration, original intention in the spell cards. Escape from dangerous situations. However, the prerequisite for escape is to take out the spell card from the book. How could Mo Lin give his opponent such an opportunity? The world. Time stops. The 9-second time stop was enough to make the three people in front of him die in regret. Boom boom boom. Fists like raindrops kept bombarding the three motionless people in front of him. The fists with the armed color were harder than steel. Bang! The 9-second time stop is over. Ganshu and the other two, who had been hit by countless punches, fell heavily to the ground. Mo Lin still had a trick up his sleeve. He only made the three people lose their ability to move, but their consciousness was still retained. Pain. The piercing pain spread throughout Ganshu's body. The pain was like waves that continuously hit Ganshu's nerves. Who is this person? What just happened? This is really a hit or miss. Ganshu, lying on the ground covered in blood, looked at Mo Lin in horror. The sudden change made him a little confused. It seemed like in an instant, I was defeated. Hand over all the cards you have. The bomb maniac, Ganshu. Mo Lin looked at Ganshu and said. You don't want to stay awake and have your bones broken one by me. Mo Lin threatened Ganshu using standard Japanese language. He didn't really want to kill Ganshu, that would be too easy for him. The most urgent task is to collect all the cards and pay back the loan sharks. 10% interest a day, the thought of it makes me scared. Ganshu sneered in his heart when he heard Mo Lin's words. If you want my card, you have to be alive to get it. Okay, please wait. As he spoke, Ganshu stretched out his hands with all his strength and touched the thumbs of Shabu and Bala. Liberate. Die the bomb maniac, Ganshu, installed the sound of life on Mo Lin the moment he touched Mo Lin. The sound of life, besides the countdown explosion method, there is another way to detonate. When you put the wooden blocks of two partners together and shout the keyword liberation, you can immediately detonate all the previously installed bombs. In an instant, in the game of Greed Island, there were explosions everywhere. Bang! The strength of the sound of life is several times that of a pinch of gunpowder, and it is so powerful that it can easily blow down a building. When the little bomb exploded behind Mo Lin, the aftermath of the explosion caused pain on the cheeks of several people around him, and Ganshu, who was awake, couldn't even open his eyes. Do you have any other tricks? Use them all. Mo Lin stood there, his whole body dark, without a single injury on his body. Are you a monster? Shabu howled in pain. Bala looked at Mo Lin with despair. Only Ganshu lay flat on the ground, staring at the sky with lifeless eyes. He had never seen someone like Mo Lin, who could withstand a bomb without any damage. How can we play this? Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Two figures flew from the sky and landed beside Mo Linear boss Mo Lin. Is this the bomb demon? Netero looked at the three people on the ground curiously. Hisoka also noticed the prey with blood on its face and smiled playfully. Ganshu, who was lying on the ground, looked at the two people who arrived late with an expression of disbelief. Hisoka, he knows him. President Netero, he knows better. My heart was hanging in the air, and finally died the moment I saw Netero. The president of the Hunter Association, Isaac Netero, appeared before him. The huge disparity in strength between the two sides made Ganshu feel deeply desperate. What kind of monsters are those that I am targeting? Here. Our cards are all here. Chapter 52. So complete. You are worthy of being called the bomb demon. Mo Lin flipped through the book in his hand. He became really rich after defeating the bomb demon. We are still short of an SS level item card 1 square meter of coastline, said Hisoka. Mo Lin remembers this photo of 1 square meter of coastline very clearly. The condition for obtaining this card is to defeat the game producer of Greed Island, Liza. The condition for obtaining it is to play a volleyball game against Liza's 14 demons. Thinking of this, Mo Lin sneered. Playing volleyball with Mr. Netero from Bai Shiguanyin? According to the information, the location where the One Ping coastline prop card appears is in the coastal city of Shaofurubi. Netero said. This news was learned from Biscuit. Biscuit, who has been immersed in the Greed Island game for many years, has obtained a lot of information. Then let's head to Shaofurubi. Road sign start. Traveling start. In the game of Greed Island, the most practical are the spell cards that can directly reach the destination. As night falls, the lights of the coastal city of Shaofurubi come on. It is like a bright pearl in the dark earth. After Mo Lin and his three companions arrived at Shaofurubi, they began to look for clues to the cards according to the game strategy. The general process of obtaining SS level items is as follows: 1. Use 1 square meter of coastline as the keyword and inquire from house to house. 2. An intelligence provider emerges who is willing to exchange information for conditions. 3. Meet his conditions and verify the authenticity of the information. 4. When you get true information, the conditions for obtaining it are met and you get the item. Otherwise, you get false information and return to step 1 to continue investigating. The method is simple, but a bit cumbersome. However, Greed Island is still strictly in accordance with the game design mode. The information providers basically stay in a fixed place and do not run around. Based on this feature, the Child of Destiny, Gon, found the beautiful NPC setting up a stall in less than 5 minutes. This city is ruled by pirates. It is said that somewhere in this sea area, there is an underwater cave called Sea Cucumber's Residence, and the entrance to it is One Ping coastline. A few years ago, 15 pirates came to this city after hearing the legend of various treasures hidden in that underwater cave. Liza and the 14 demons. They tortured to death all the fishermen in the city and anyone who knew the location of the 1 square meter of coastline, including my father and brother. At this point, a hint of sadness flashed across the beautiful NPC's face. I heard my brother mention that the location of 1 square meter of coastline is. After learning the location of 1 square meter of coastline from the beautiful NPC, Mo Lin and his group of 4 took advantage of the night and flew to a tavern on the shore. Squeak! Pushing the door open, 4 men wearing hats in the tavern stopped drinking and looked at Mo Lin and his group. Who are you? We have booked this place today. Mo Lin looked at the fat man who had spoken, took out a piece of paper from his pocket and read it. We have something to discuss with you. Can you please leave this city? Mo Lin read the trigger words in a mechanical voice and expressionless face. Then, the 4 people in front of him burst into laughter. I've heard this for a long time. The last person who said this has long been a pile of bones on the seashore of the city. The fat man in the lead walked towards Mo Lin and smiled contemptuously. I really want to crush you right now, but all the decisions are up to the captain. What are you discussing? Try using your strength. The fat man took out a lighter from his pocket. A flash of fire flashed, and a circular circle of fire appeared on the wooden floor. The fat man was in the circle of fire, squatting on his knees, and said with a playful look on his face. If any of you can get me out of this wrestling ring, I'll take you to see the captain. Once you enter this wrestling ring surrounded by fire, the match begins. It's okay for several of you to attack together. As long as you can push me out of this wrestling ring, I will let you meet our boss. Buzz. As soon as the fat man finished speaking, the expressions on the faces of Mo Lin and his group of 4 were very interesting. 4 against 1? Wouldn't that be too bullying? You choose. We'll pick one at random from the 4 of us, and if he loses, we'll just turn around and leave. Mo Lin said. Become the host? The fat guy was a little confused, but when he thought about not having to deal with 4 people and being able to drink immediately after the game, he nodded in agreement. He glanced at the 4 people in front of him. A child, an old man, and 2 young men. But why are their faces full of expectations? An expression that says pick me, pick me. But it doesn't matter. I just want to drink now. The fat man muttered a few words, looked at Netero and said. As the saying goes, young and strong are better than young ones. Let's take that old man with white beard. I don't mean to bully you. After all, you were the one who set the rules. Wait, why are they looking at me with such sympathy? The fat man looked at Netero in confusion as he walked towards him. Da-da-da. My name is Isaac Netero. Please teach me. Netero clasped his hands together and said in a deep voice. Isaac Netero, what a familiar name. The fat man ignored him and just half-crouched on the ground to lower his center of gravity. In a wrestling match, a large body weight is very advantageous. The game begins. Netero looked at the fat man in front of him with an amused expression. Avalokitesvara of the 100 Worlds. Boom boom boom. A golden, multi-armed Guanyin figure appeared behind Netero, and a terrifying aura began to spread across the entire tavern from the Guanyin figure. The rising air waves blew away all the tables, chairs, and benches in the tavern. When the fat man saw the golden statue of Guanyin, he finally remembered who the old man with white beard in front of him was. The president of the Hunter Association, Isaac Netero. Boom! As soon as he finished speaking, the giant palm of Avalokitesvara gave a light push, and the fat man fell into the wooden drunkard behind him. Thank you. We lost. I'll take you to see our boss. The tall, thin man wearing a hat standing nearby looked at Netero in front of him with an incredible expression. The strongest man in the human world is here, how can we play? I didn't expect that President Netero would also form a team to play the game of Greed Island. The tall and thin man shook his head and looked at the fat man lying on the ground with a wry smile. He was unlucky. He chose you, the strongest among the 4 of you. The strongest? Not necessarily. Netero shook his head in denial and looked at Mo Lin beside him. The 4-hatted men in the tavern looked at Mo Lin after hearing what Netero said. Is this person stronger than President Netero? No, buddy. Chapter 53. Seaside Cliff, Lighthouse Fortress. Led by the tall and thin man and the fat man, Mo Lin and his group entered the lighthouse fortress and entered a bright stadium. In the empty stadium, there were a few people wearing the same hats as the fat man standing here and there. Playing volleyball, shooting hoops, lifting weights. When Mo Lin and his team entered the stadium, Lei Jia, who was exercising his muscles in the corner, looked at the old man with white beard and his pupils dilated. President Netero. He would be here too? Boss, these four are the ones who claim to drive us away. The tall and thin man went straight to the point after seeing Lei Jia. Lei Jia understood what he meant. He came here to play the game, but he kept his eyes on Netero as he spoke slowly. Then let's get straight to the point and start the game. There are only 4 of you, so each side will send 3 representatives to play, and it will be best of 3 games. President Netero, I'm sorry, but you are too powerful to participate in the competition. It will affect the balance of the competition. Liza nodded to Netero. Hey? I can't participate? What a pity. Netero looked at Mo Lin beside him with regret. Yes, President Netero, your presence affects the balance of the game too much. Liza said with a hint of apology. He had previously learned from Jin about the strength of President Netero, the number 1 human Nin. How to fight this? Even though this is a game I created, I still can't necessarily beat him even if I cheat. Okay then. Netero looked at Liza with some sympathy, seeming to be hesitant to speak. Boss. The tall and thin man at the side gently nudged Lei Jia with his elbow, just about to remind him. He was interrupted by Lei Jia. Let's talk about it later, let's compete first. Boss, what I want to say is the tall and thin man wanted to continue reminding. Pa. We'll talk later. President Netero is here. Lei Jia raised his hand and nodded lightly, signaling the tall and thin man to wait a moment, and he walked in front of Mo Lin and his group. Alright, these 3, let's officially start the game. For now, we still need to leave a good impression on President Netero. Thinking about it, he began to introduce the rules of the game. I will decide the rules of the game. If you win, we will leave this island. If you lose, just leave. When talking about losing, the fat guy who had just brought Mo Lin here, the tall and thin guy, and Netero who was traveling with Mo Lin all looked at Mo Lin who was standing in the center. Liza also noticed this strange behavior. Why are they all looking at this young man? Lei Jia thought to himself. But he didn't care, the strongest Netero had been asked to leave the competition, leaving only these 3. A child, King's son. A young man named Mo Lin, who looks easy to bully. One is called Hisoka, and he looks like a pervert. This game is in our hands. The way to play is to exercise. We will compete with you in the sports that each team member is good at. To show my respect to you, I will play in the first game. Lei Jia's face darkened, and there was still a black aura lingering around him. Strong energy surged out of his body, suppressing people so much that they couldn't even breathe. Liza, one of the producers of the Greed Island game. A determined face, muscles bulging out of his t-shirt, and a majestic aura emanating from his body. Lei Jia, who is right in front of everyone, is a powerful and unfathomable opponent. His appearance made his teammates change color. This shows how powerful Reza is in their hearts. The boss goes first. They are in trouble. Yeah. Hey. Why do you two look so worried? In the crowd, the fat man and the tall and thin man who had just brought Mo Lin and the other 4 here had worried expressions on their faces. Faced with other people's doubts, he did not say anything and remained silent. After saying this, Lei Jia walked slowly to the boxing ring in the stadium. This sport is not his best, so he chose this game in order to give Mo Lin and the other 2 a chance. After all, his telekinesis is very strong. In a one-on-one boxing match, all you have to do is knock out your opponent. Attention, you can use Nin in this game. Not only that, you can also use items created with Nin. Okay, who are you going to send out? Lei Jia stood in a corner of the boxing ring, looking at Mo Lin and the other 2, waiting for their response. Manager Mo Lin, you are the strongest among the 3 of us, so please go up. Hisoka looked at Mo Lin and said. Gon on the side didn't say anything, just looked at Mo Lin. Okay, I'll be the first one to go. The first game, Mo Lin vs Lei Jia. Start soon. Each round lasts 3 minutes, there is no judgment, and the match ends only when one side is knocked down. Lei Jia sent a referee to the field. A tall and thin guy. The game is about to begin. By the way, what did you want to tell me just now? Lei Jia asked the tall and thin man. Boss, this guy is stronger than President Netero, the tall and thin man replied in a low voice. Then, the competition officially began. Fight. After hearing the tall and thin man's words, Lei Jia's heart was filled with waves. Stronger than President Netero? Are you kidding me? Boom. When Lei Jia looked at Mo Lin again, a black fist came towards him with lightning speed. Quick! Too fast! Armament Haki, Ryasakura. Even though Lei Jia saw the fist, he didn't have time to dodge, so he could only cross his arms to block Mo Lin's attack. Bang! When the fist hit Lei Jia's arms, he felt as if a mountain was pressing down on him. So heavy! Tut! A mouthful of blood spurted out of Lei Jia's mouth, drawing a perfect red arc in the air. Boom boom boom! The fence of the boxing ring was broken by the flying Lei Jia, and then it kept flying backwards and finally embedded in the wall of the stadium. The sudden change made Lei Jia's brothers confused. My brain is totally shut down. Boss, he was knocked away by that guy's punch. I'm not dazzled, am I? Dizzy? The house shook just now. What are you still standing there for? Go and save the boss. Da-da-da. The brothers wearing hats all ran towards Lei Jia. Tut! A mouthful of black blood spurted out of Lei Jia's mouth again. He raised his arms with all his strength, signaling his younger brothers not to come over. Ouch! It hurts so much. Even though Lei Jia felt like his body was about to fall apart, he still forced himself to stand up. He underestimated the man in front of him. Who is he? It's so terrifying. Chapter 54. Come again. Lei Jia endured the pain in his body and dragged himself towards the boxing ring step by step. He was too careless just now. He attacked a middle-aged man like me while I wasn't paying attention. How unsportsmanlike. I advise you to learn your lesson. Lei Jia recalled the moment when Mo Lin threw the punch just now. He was indeed a little careless. It was because of this carelessness that he failed to mobilize all the energy in his body to defend himself. Thoughts are the root of the wise. Lei Jia's thoughts are very powerful. Besides, I still have none that I haven't used yet. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. 14 strange men wearing black hats that covered half of their faces poured out from Liza's hands. Liza, transmuter Nen. Nen, 14 demons. A kind of mind beast. This is my Nen, 14 demons, belonging to the Nen beast. Liza is in the boxing ring again. This time, there were 16 people standing on the small boxing ring, and even the guardrails of the boxing ring were covered with mental beasts, demons. Lei Jia stood in front of Mo Lin and looked at him confidently. He is very terrifying at his full strength. He has absolute confidence in his own strength. But Mo Lin on the opposite side had an indifferent look on his face. There was no change on his face. Why doesn't he show any change in emotion? Lei Jia thought to himself. Until now, he still didn't believe what the tall and thin man said just now, that this young man was stronger than President Netero. Joke. Who is he to compare with President Netero? It's no wonder that Liza thinks this way, because President Netero's reputation is so great in the hearts of the Nen. In his middle age, Netero was already recognized as the best Nen in the world. Until decades later, no one dared to challenge Netero. This time, Lei Jia concentrated his mind, and the energy in his body was transformed into a sharp sense that could be perceived under the technique of circle. Circle is an advanced combined application technique of entanglement and training, and can be said to be an ultra-high performance radar. Lei Jia covered the entire boxing ring with his energy, ready to go. The boss is serious. He even sent out 14 demons. That kid is in trouble. Just now, you actually took advantage of the boss's carelessness and attacked him. That's really unethical. By the way, what did you just say to the boss on the stage? The tall and thin man looked at Lei Jia, who was in full condition, and said slowly, this young man is stronger than President Netero. Stronger? Are you stupid? That's President Netero. Yet, you've only been training for a few years, how can you possibly understand how powerful President Netero is? But President Netero said it himself. What? In an instant, the hearts of everyone around the tall and thin man were surging like waves. In the boxing ring, Mo Lin murmured softly, the world. Time stops. Buzz. A world sparkling with golden light emerged from behind Mo Lin. What is that? Lei Jia focused his eyes on the energy as he watched a golden humanoid giant rise up from behind Mo Lin. The Emperor's engine starts up, Mo Lin's heart began to beat faster, and Teacher King's pretentious skills were perfectly applied at this moment. Bang bang bang. The strong heartbeat like the roar of an engine made everyone present change their expression. Lei Jia swallowed hard. An invisible feeling of oppression surged into my heart. Superior. There was no time to hesitate. Lei Jia gave an order and 14 demons rushed towards Mo Linear. Lei Jia wanted to use human wave tactics to knock down Mo Linear. Time stop. A strange light flashed from the world, and with Mo Lin as the center, the world began to turn grey. The world began to punch, and countless fists rained down on the 14 demons and on Lei Jia. One after another, figures flew into the sky. 9 seconds. I don't know how many punches he threw. 10 punches? 100 punches? 10,000 punches? Too many to count, too many to count. In a world where time has stopped, there are two pairs of eyes spinning around, watching everything. Netero and Gon, at this moment they truly felt the power of Mo Lin. Gon, that's the world, a stand like me, but now he's much more powerful than me. Star Platinum reminded Gon. As for Netero, due to his great strength, he was able to wrap himself in thoughts at the moment before time stopped. But Mo Lin was so powerful that he couldn't move at will. 9 seconds are up. Bang! The 14 demons and Lei Jia who were suspended in the air suddenly fell from the air and landed heavily on the ground. Lei Jia lay on the ground, trying hard to hold back the pain, and looked at Mo Lin. What exactly happened just now? I was defeated in an instant. Lei Jia felt pain all over his body and felt as if he had been punched 10,000 times. Lei Jia didn't want to believe it. He had tried his best but didn't even touch his opponent's collar, yet he was defeated. Is he really more powerful than President Netero? Lei Jia's heart wavered at this moment. Even in Jin's hands, he could hold out for 10 minutes without being defeated, but he was beaten within a minute without any ability to fight back. I lost. He sighed and accepted the reality. You lose. Let's start the next game. Mo Lin walked up to Lei Jia and said. No, there is no need to play the next game. I'll get out of here. Lei Jia shook his head. Even he, the strongest one, didn't understand how he lost. How could these half-baked brothers of his win the game? It's better to suffer less. Before that, I want to talk to Gon alone. I'm his father, Gon's friend. After Lei Jia chatted with Gon alone for half an hour, he took everyone away. Mo Lin and his team got the last card as they wished, 1 square meter of coastline. When all the cards were collected, the final person to complete the game, Mo Lin, ended the journey. He also picked out 3 cards, which is Rejuvenation Potion Breath of the Archangel Spring Lake mission completed. Mankai Blind Box Store. After summarizing the report of this task and entering it into the task publishing page on the purchase page, the final settlement begins. Purchase on card, mission, the true appearance of Greed Island. Task progress, completed. Mo Lin's task progress percentage, 30%, reward 30,000 blind box points. Isaac Netero's progress percentage, 20%, reward, 20,000 blind box points. Hisoka progress percentage, 20%, reward 20,000 blind box points. J Freaks' progress percentage, 30%, reward, 30,000 blind box points. All blind box points have been stored on the purchase card and can be used for in-store purchases. When they heard that the final reward had arrived, smiles appeared on their faces. If you have money, you can spend it. Boss Mo Lin, give me 2 legendary blind boxes. Netero stared at Mo Lin and said. Chapter 55. Legend Blind Box. The 4th level blind box can only be purchased with blind box points. Each blind box is sold at 1,000 blind box points, which is equivalent to 1 billion genie. And most importantly, it is said that blind boxes are likely to contain colorful items. Although the chance is very small. However, the probability of withdrawing money will be greatly increased. I just returned to the store and the first customer couldn't wait to buy the blind box. Mo Lin was a little excited. Okay, you need to pay with a purchase card to purchase a legendary level or higher blind box. President Netero, the probability of getting good stuff in 10 consecutive draws is higher. Mo Lin kindly reminded. Netero stroked his grey beard, groaned, and then spoke. 10 of them. Okay. Ding, consume 10,000 blind box points. As 10,000 blind box points were deducted from the Netero purchase card, the 2 at the beginning of the account balance also changed to 1. 10 legendary blind boxes are placed on the counter in the store. Mo Lin looked at the legend blind box and sighed in his heart, it is really worthy of being called the legend blind box. Unlike the high-end blind box which is made of jade and has a warm feeling, the legend blind box is made of crystal clear gems. It really blinded the faces of several people present. Netero walked towards the counter, staring at the legend blind box in front of him, mumbling to himself. Open buzz. 10 legendary blind boxes floated into the air and formed a circle. Then, one by one, the blind boxes began to emit dazzling light. White and purple echo each other. Mo Lin stared at the blind box, hoping for something special. The legendary blind box has a chance to win. If you convert it, the probability of a legendary blind box winning is 1 in 1,000, and the probability of an epic blind box winning is 1 in 100. Moreover, colored items are either extremely powerful or have incredible functions. You can directly gain powerful combat power without practicing. Another point is that the quality of the gold items opened from the legendary blind boxes is higher than that of mid to high level gold items. The range of gold items is really huge. As strong as the 3-color domineering mastery, it directly grants powerful combat power, and all of them belong to the top of the gold level. As weak as the universal capsule, these limited time items also belong to the gold category. What will the golden item from the legendary blind box look like? Mo Lin was a little curious. Buzz. A golden light flashed, illuminating the faces of several people present with a dazzling golden glow. It's so dazzling. Golden legend! Netero exclaimed in a low voice. Unexpectedly, the 4th of the 10 blind boxes turned out to be gold. My luck is still very good today. Mo Lin couldn't help but sigh that it was still the legendary blind box, it was easy to get gold. Before Mo Lin could sigh any more, then there was another flash of golden light. This time, his brows furrowed as he turned his gaze towards Netero. The corners of his mouth turned up. The old man was trying not to laugh. Is this old man so lucky today? How about I try it later? After a few flashes of white light, Mo Lin looked at the last legendary blind box with some anticipation. Buzz. Colorful lights, flashing continuously. Lights up the entire blind box store. It's too dazzling. It's so bright that it's blinding the eyes of everyone present. This time, Mo Lin couldn't hold it back any longer. He opened his eyes wide and looked carefully, and there were a few bloodshot streaks in his eyes. Eyes red. He looked at the colorful light in front of him with an incredible look on his face. What a joke! Color. Netero's 10 legendary blind boxes can be opened in color. If this blind box is a box drawing mechanism for dog cards, then all players must share these 1000 blind boxes. Netero was drawn out of the first 10 blind boxes, so who else has a chance to shine? Ha ha ha. Netero's upturned mouth corners stretched all the way to the back of his head, and the grey beard on his lips trembled violently. Old man, this luck is incredible. Boss Mo Lin, are you taking care of me because the legend blind box has just been put on the shelves? Mo Lin tried hard to suppress the urge of the galloping creature in his heart, the alpaca. He smiled and said, President Netero is really lucky. It seems that you are very lucky today. The probability of a blind box being a success has also increased. Then please, Boss Mo Lin, introduce these things to me. Netero said, looking at the objects floating in the air. The information about the item instantly appeared in Mo Lin's mind. 10 legendary blind boxes, 1 color, 2 gold, and 1 purple. Colored items, Wolf Castle Spaceship, from the world of Zui, the culmination of the black technology of the great scientist Grey Wolf, unmanned driving, anti-gravity suspension, beam traction, energy shield, space-based weapons, gold items, Universal Capsule Plus, from the Dragon Ball world, an enhanced version of the Universal Glue, containing 10,000 cubic meters of space. Food tablecloth, from the world of Doraemon, all kinds of food appear out of thin air. Just say the name of the food you want to eat, and the food is completely free. You can create food 10 times a day, filling up the tablecloth. With it, my parents no longer have to worry about me starving in the wild. Purple items, camping capsule, from the Doraemon world, a spherical living space with several meters long pillars at the bottom, suitable for living in the wild. In addition to the bed, there are also toilets, showers, and other facilities. One can accommodate about 1 to 2 people. Wow, Wolfberg spaceship. The Wolf Castle spaceship that is equal to the aerospace aircraft carrier. Mo Lin looked at the purple Wolf Castle spaceship the size of a figurine floating in the air, with a look of astonishment on his face. He really didn't expect that he could come up with this thing. It's outrageous. President Netero, congratulations. The colorful object is called the Wolf Castle spaceship. It is an airship invented by a great scientist named Grey Wolf. If you put your hand on this small thing, you will learn all about its uses. Following Mo Lin's instructions, Netero reached out and touched. Hwalalal. All kinds of information flooded into Netero's mind. This small spaceship, which is about 90 meters long, can not only fly in the sky, but also has a matching energy shield, and can even convert various energy sources into power for the spacecraft. That's awesome. While Netero was still immersed in the joy of the Wolf Castle spaceship, Mo Lin continued, these two golden items, one is an enhanced version of the Universal Capsule, which contains 10,000 cubic meters of space. The other one is called Gourmet Tablecloth. As long as you say the name of the food you want to eat to it, it will conjure up a table of food. However, it can only be used 10 times a day. The purple item is called a camping capsule. If you throw it on the ground, it will create a tube several meters high with a semicircular camping site on top. It can accommodate 1 or 2 people. After Mo Lin finished his introduction, Netero looked at the 4 items in front of him. Transportation. Storage tools. Create something to eat. Wild camping. Isn't it obvious that this is asking me to go to the Dark Continent? At this moment, Netero wants to go to the Dark Continent and reach the top. Chapter 56. Netero is gone. He put the Wolfberg spaceship into the Universal Capsule Plus, put it in his pocket, and left the blind box store. When I left, I was talking excitedly, Dark Continent, Dark Continent. Hisoka and Gon did not choose to buy the blind box, but left the blind box store first. After all, as long as you want, you can rely on the transmission function of the purchase card to go to the blind box store instantly every day. Of course, there is one more thing. Even if Netero has performed well today, the probability of it performing well again if you continue to buy it will be very small. The realization of the old blind box traders is that when they see others winning the jackpot, they should wait a little longer. Hisoka disappeared into the city alone. Gon used the anywhere door and went directly to Yukiksen City. Because, just now Leorio sent a message. He and Killua have already joined up with Kurapika. Kurapika seems to be making a big move against Phantom Troupe. Now, inside the World Blind Box store, only Mo Lin was left, lying on a recliner in the store. In this mission, he obtained a total of 30,000 blind box points, a number he had never dared to imagine before. However, 30,000 blind box points cannot satisfy him. He wants to upgrade the blind box store and wants to see a more advanced blind box store. I want to become stronger and explore the unknown and dangerous Dark Continent. Blind box store, level 1 to level 2, total income, 10 billion Janani. From level 2 to level 3, total revenue must reach 1 million blind box points. This condition really made Mo Lin's eyes go dark. 1 million blind box points. System, do you want to listen to what you are saying? The key is to get customers to spend 1 million blind box points. Mo Lin's own consumption does not count. This will have to wait until the year of the monkey and the horse. After reading this abnormal condition, Mo Lin calmed down and checked his recent gains. System, call up the host panel. Byte owner of Wanja Blind Box Store, Mo Lin None personal skills, Nan's 4 basic skills, World Substitute, God's Alibi, Emperor Engine, 3 color domineering mastery own blind box, no items, 3 fairy beans, Charmander, primary fairy body blind box. 28950 very good and powerful. In this Greed Island mission, Mo Lin borrowed 1000 blind box points from the system to buy a missing person cane. After deducting the loan for 5 days, there were still 28,950 blind box points left. 1% interest every day, that's really dark. Plus the 300 billion rings he owns. That is all the property that Mo Lin currently owns. Don't worry about the lucky draw. Mo Lin plans to make a big splash when he gets enough blind box points. And, most importantly, pay more attention to the system tasks. After all, it is faster to earn blind box points by completing tasks. Wait, there's one more thing. Mo Lin suddenly thought of something and felt a chill down his spine. Come out. Charmander. He pulled the pokeball out of his pocket and threw it on the ground. Wow! Wow! You finally remembered me. I was dying of holding it in. WA. Charmander said angrily, with his paws on his hips. Okay. Don't hate me. I was on a mission before. Don't be angry. Mo Lin hugged Charmander and comforted him. I'm out here to earn money for you. If you get angry again, your tight skin will get wrinkled. Wow, wow. Okay, I forgive you then. Why? What are we going to do? Charmander folded his paws across his chest and said with a hint of tsundere. Mo Lin sighed in his heart. Communicating with Charmander is harder than communicating with my girlfriend. No, I don't seem to have a girlfriend. Let's decorate the house. Let's go to the system mall to buy some things. Here, Gon used the magic door and arrived at Yokiksen City in a short while. In Yokiksen City, inside a hotel somewhere. In Killua's room, Killua, Leorio, and Kurapika sat together, discussing something. Kurapika, have you decided? Leorio asked Kurapika, who had a serious face. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I can't wait, Leorio. The Phantom Troupe is currently in Yokiksen City, and most of the brigade's combat power is in a state of disuse. As he spoke, Kurapika suddenly choked up, his eyes widened with anger and bloodshot. Lately, he has been working as a bodyguard for a gang, waiting for his encounter with the Phantom Troupe. According to the intelligence we received and the original plan, we should encounter the Phantom Troupe on September 1st only. Unexpectedly, a special auction of Grade A items was suddenly held in the auction hall. Most importantly, the leader of the Phantom Troupe and his members were seriously injured by a mysterious man. Kurapika's revenge plan was temporarily put on hold. From Nian's words, Kurapika learned about the current situation of Phantom Troupe. Its combat power was halved and it was hiding in a corner of Yokiksen City. This time, it was Leorio and Killua who took the initiative to find him after learning about the experiences of Gon and Killua. He saw the dawn of annihilating the Phantom Troupe in one fell swoop. Bang! During the conversation, a pink door appeared in front of the three people. Gon is back! Killua exclaimed in joy when he saw the anywhere door. Everyone, I'm back! The door was pushed open, and Gon saw his three best friends and happily rushed directly to the center of the three. Gon, how was the mission? Leorio asked with concern. It's like this. Gon told the three of them every word about his mission experience during this period. From the meeting to learning about Jin in the game, and the final blind box event. After listening to Gon's story, Kurapika looked at Gon in amazement. Complete quests in the Greed Island game with President Netero, Hisoka, and the owner of the blind box store. How many days did I speedrun the game Greed Island? Gon's description gave Kurapika a clear understanding of the blind box store and Mo Lin. This magical little shop can sell many incredible items. Perhaps, I can also gain great strength from it. Kurapika made up her mind and spoke. Gon, I would like to trouble you to take me to the blind box store. I also need powerful strength. Phantom Troupe, their combat power is now reduced to half, and they are recovering somewhere in Yokiksen City. I need you to help me find their location. Kurapika's desire for revenge completely occupied his mind at this moment. Gon and the other two didn't say anything, but just nodded silently. The operation began, and the four people planned to spend 2 days searching for the location of the Phantom Troupe. 2 days later, use Gon's anywhere door to go to the Wanja blind box store. Go! 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 On the other side, a blonde boy with a spider tattoo on his shoulder was wandering around the sky arena. He is getting closer and closer to Mo Lin's blind box store. Chapter 57. I've been looking for it here for 3 days. I've searched all around the sky arena. Where on earth could it be? Shulnark, a blonde, baby-faced man, stood on the side of the road, staring at the towering buildings of the sky arena in a daze. A week ago, Leader Krollo assigns him a mission to go to the sky arena to find out why Hisoka has gained such great power. It's been 3 days since we arrived at the sky arena. He almost walked around the 1 kilometer area around the sky arena. Just when he was worried about this, a familiar figure appeared in his sight. That is, wearing a plain grey dress and with a smiling face. It was the man who almost beat the leader and his men to death. As one of the few highly intelligent members of the Phantom Troupe, he is responsible for the processing and intelligence work within the brigade, and naturally takes on the role of the brigade's military advisor. Once there is any new situation in Phantom Troupe, he will be notified immediately. A few days ago, Leader Krollo and a few others wanted to steal the treasure that was being auctioned by the powerful man in front of them. This man beat 6 of them at once and almost killed them on the spot. Information about this person's appearance was immediately passed to Shulnark, who was warned to avoid him as he was extremely dangerous. Da-da-da. Shulnark took a step forward and followed not far behind Mo Lin. Go around? He doesn't think so. Judging from the power Hisoka obtained and the items that this person auctioned in Yokiksen City last time, these things that have never appeared before are likely to come from the same place. He wants to take a gamble. The bet is whether following Mo Lin can find clues to the source of the items. Shulnark followed Mo Lin, passing through the busy streets and secluded alleys, heading farther and farther away from the Sky Arena. Finally, at the end of a small alley, Shulnark stopped and watched Mo Lin enter a rather shabby storefront. The damaged sign hanging diagonally on the storefront attracted Shulnark's attention. Wanja Blind Box Store. A store? Shulnark stopped for a while, taking in the surroundings, deserted and very desolate. There is a store in this place? Is this the shop opened by that powerful man? Shulnark felt that he was getting closer and closer to the truth of the matter. He took the most important step in his life. The most important step that can change his life. Pushing open the door, Shulnark entered. The minimalist atmosphere that came to his face gave him a refreshing feeling. There is a vending machine, a glass counter, a wooden lounge chair next to the glass counter, and a soft sofa against the wall. That's all there is to the store. What are you trying to do after following me for so long? Shulnark. Mo Lin, standing behind the counter, squinted his eyes and looked at the baby-faced Shulnark in front of him. Information about him also appeared in my mind. Name, Shulnark. Race, human. Identity, member of Phantom Troupe No. 6. Strength, newcomer. You know me. Shulnark felt a ripple in his heart. Oops. This guy is so powerful, and he almost beat the leader and the others to death. I'm afraid I won't be able to escape today. Shulnark activated his telekinesis and prepared to turn around and run out the door. Calm down, this is the Wanja Blind Box Store. I'm the owner of this store, Mo Lin. The rules are on the whiteboard on the wall. Mo Lin said unhappily. In this store, there are only customers and the boss. Am I that scary? Click. Hearing Mo Lin's words, Shulnark stopped. The other party did not take any action and asked him to look at the whiteboard on the wall. Shulnark followed his gaze and carefully read the contents of the whiteboard in his mind. Wanja Blind Box Store Rules. Article 1. It works. It works. Shulnark suddenly realized, his pupils dilated slightly, and his mouth opened in surprise. Why did Hisoka gain powerful abilities? Why can the man in front of me bring out so many amazing items? It's all because he is the owner of this magical blind box shop. It is incredible that there is a magical blind box that can open any item in the universe. Shulnark used his clever little brain and immediately understood the value of this store to customers. 1. The Wanja Blind Box Store does not screen customers, and anyone can come here to buy blind boxes. 2. There are 2 currencies for purchasing blind boxes, genie or blind box points. 3. You can also gain powerful combat power like Hisoka. There has always been a regret in Shulnark's heart, that is his non-puppet phone, which is an ability that brings no sense of accomplishment to him. After understanding the rules, Shulnark walked to the vending machine and inserted his bank card. After the blind box store is updated, primary, intermediate and advanced blind boxes can be automatically purchased in the vending machines. The probability of getting a gold item in a high-level blind box is higher. I still have 2 billion ringgits left in my card. As the brigade's chief of staff and steward, after the Phantom Troupe's money was distributed, the remaining money was almost always kept by Shulnark. Premium blind box, 20. Buy. Swish, swish, swish. 20 high-end blind boxes were drawn out along the internal channel of the vending machine. Turn on, shine brightly. Ding. 2 golds and 1 purple. Gold items, Super Saiyan Transformation Super Low Profile Version, from the Dragon Ball world, after transformation, long golden hair, combat power increased tenfold, can be trained, the longer the hair, the stronger the combat power, the highest combat power increase of 30 times. Senzu Beans *5, from the Dragon Ball world. As long as you are not dead, you can be alive and kicking after eating them. Purple items, the Scroll of Super Strength, from the Naruto world. After learning it, one can precisely control the telekinesis in the body and concentrate it on any part of the body, which will produce a powerful airflow with amazing power. Oh, this kid is lucky. If you see 2 billion genie, you can draw 2 gold and 1 purple items. One of the gold items is the top combat power enhancer among the gold items. You are lucky. The moment Shulnark received the item information, the Super Saiyan transformation had already been integrated into his body. A steady stream of power surged out of the body. I have to go back quickly and give the senzu beans to the captain and the others. Shulnark turned and left, heading for Yukiksen City. This way, Yukiksen City. Gon and his 3 companions have been searching in Yukiksen City for almost 2 days, but still haven't found it. Among them, Kurapika and Leorio worked as a team to conduct a carpet search in the urban area. Hard work pays off. On a street, Kurapika met 3 members of the Phantom Troupe. Maki, Fingus, and Pakunoda. 3 people were walking on the street, buying daily necessities. The moment Kurapika saw the 3 people, anger immediately surged out of his eyes, and his pupil color changed from black to fiery red. I finally found it. It was so easy for me to find it. You all must die, not one of you will survive. Da-da-da. Kurapika, whose mind was completely occupied by anger, walked towards Maki and the other 2 step by step. On the right hand, chains appeared quietly. Chapter 58. Boom. A large, strong hand tightly grasped Kurapika's arm. Kurapika, calm down. Our plan is to find the other party's hiding place first. Leorio beside him shouted sharply. Yes, Leorio, hold me like this, or I will lose control and want to kill you. Kurapika's eyes have changed from light red at the beginning to dark red. There was a chill in his tone. Moment, only then did he calm down. I'm sorry, Leorio, I just... It's okay, let's continue to follow each other and find each other's residence. Phantom Troupe is indeed Phantom Troupe, and caution is their byword. If Leorio and Kurapika hadn't discovered each other by accident, they would never have imagined that the other party had a safe house hidden in the water supply center on the edge of the city. Kurapika looked at Maki and the other 2 who entered the safe house from a distance. He now wished he could rush in immediately and use the contract chain in his hand to pierce the heart of every member of the brigade. Use their blood to commemorate the tragic deaths of the Kurita tribe members. Crack! Crack! The fists were clenched and the knuckles were crackling. Okay, Kurapika, calm down. Mark this place immediately, then meet up with Gon and the others immediately, and then go to the Sky Arena to increase the last wave of combat power. Leorio marked the target and took away the enraged Kurapika. He now can't wait to see the rumored Wanja blind box store. Will it be mysterious or magnificent? Next stop, destination Sky Arena. According to the original plan, the location of the Phantom Troupe must be found within 2 days. Afterwards, go to the Wanja blind box store immediately to buy blind boxes and enhance your combat power. Finally, the 4 of them went out and killed all members of the Phantom Troupe. Sky Arena, the entrance of Wanja blind box store. A pink door suddenly appeared at the door, and Gon and his 4 companions walked out. This is it, the Wanja blind box shop, where Killua and I buy blind boxes. Gon said, pointing to the damaged sign. Hey? Are you sure it's here? It looks very shabby. Leorio exclaimed. The facade of the Wanja blind box store completely shattered Leorio's beautiful fantasy. Okay, Leorio, let's get in there. Kurapika pushed the door open and walked in. All he wanted now was to draw the blind box and improve his strength. He doesn't care about anything else. Bang, the shop door opened. Mo Lin, who was playing with Charmander, saw the person coming and a smile appeared on his face. Welcome. Gon, Killua, and Kurapika, Leorio. The information about the 2 people flooded into Mo Lin's mind. Name, Kurapika. Race, human. Identity, member of the Kurita tribe. Strength, the backbone is still very strong. Name, Leorio. Race, human. Occupation, doctor. Strength, newcomer. Hello, boss Mo Lin. Kurapika greeted Mo Lin. He had already learned most of the information about the Wanja blind box store from Gon and Killua. As soon as he entered the store, he kept his eyes on the whiteboard on the wall. He read every rule of the store carefully. Only valuable items can be exchanged for blind box points. Blind box points are really precious. Kurapika stroked Gon's purchase card in her hand. He borrowed this card from Gon. It contained 30,000 blind box points, which could be used to purchase 30 legendary blind boxes. Boss Mo Lin, give me 20 legendary blind boxes. He and Leorio each had 10, which was agreed upon before they came. They each owed Gon 10,000 blind box points. Gon didn't want it at first, but the 2 of them felt bad about it. Especially Kurapika. Wow! Gon's purchase card, marked with 20,000 blind box points. 20 legendary blind boxes were neatly placed on the counter. Are you ready? Leorio looked at Kurapika. Let's start. Kurapika said firmly. Recite silently in your heart to start. Light began to flicker in the small blind box shop. Kurapika's heart seemed to be pulled in suspense, and she felt extremely nervous. White. 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 Please help me get items that increase my combat power, please. Kurapika thought to himself, he didn't have much money, and he didn't want to ogon too much. White. White. Purple. Here it comes. His fists were clenched, trembling slightly. White. 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 Gold. Wow. It's done. It's done. The Golden Legend. Kurapika shouted excitedly. He was usually calm and composed, but he lost his composure when he saw the Golden Legend. 2 golds. I released 2 gold legendaries. Leorio was extremely lucky as he got 2 golden legendaries and he was jumping up and down with excitement. Leorio, Kurapika, congratulations. Gon congratulated excitedly. Boss Mo Lin, please explain these items to us. Kurapika calmed down and looked at Mo Lin and asked. Gold items, Kurapika opens it, 1 Megatama Sharingan, from the Naruto world, the stronger the emotion, the faster the upgrade, no side effects, upgrading to the Mangekyo Sharingan will not reduce pupil power. Leorio opens, the Operation Fruit, from the world of One Piece, a superhuman devil fruit that can create a hemispherical/global specific space, in which any object can be freely divided and combined. Yin Seal Scroll, from the Naruto world, S-level medical sealing technique, a diamond-shaped mark appears on the forehead, fine-tuning the telekinesis to achieve the effect of instant healing and strengthening the attack and increasing the speed. Skilled users can achieve the effect of maintaining youthfulness, improving body functions, and keeping body functions in peak condition by using the low output and micro-adjustment of the chakra in the seal of the 100 healings. Purple items, Palm Immortal Technique Scroll, from the Naruto world, advanced medical ninjutsu, no matter internal or external injuries, can achieve amazing recovery speed by releasing telekinesis. Kurapika opens Susanoo. Leorio becomes a big medical complex? This is outrageous. Mo Lin looked at the introduction of the items and was shocked beyond words. The golden items opened from this legendary blind box could directly increase combat power. Mo Lin said to Kurapika, pointing at the Sharingan. These eyes are called Sharingan. After you touch them, they will become your eyes. These eyes can evolve. The stronger your emotions are, the faster they will evolve. The highest level of Mangekyo Sharingan can obtain earth-shattering eye techniques. Following Mo Lin's instructions, Kurapika reached out and touched the jade Sharingan floating in the air. Wow! The Sharingan penetrated into Kurapika's eyes, and the originally pure and flawless eyes now had a pair of Megatama. When I put on these glasses, Kurapika thought of the emotions that Mo Lin said, and he recalled the scene when the Kurita tribe was slaughtered by the Phantom Troupe. Flames were raging in every corner of the garrison and corpses were everywhere. His own people had their eyes gouged out, and their dead faces still showed fear and unwillingness. Thinking of this, Kurapika's eyes turned blood red. I swear, I'm going to kill all the Phantom Troupe members. Anger filled Kurapika's mind. The Megatama in his eyes began to spin rapidly. 2 Megatama. 3 Megatama. As well as. Chapter 59. Ka. The 3 Megatama that were originally rotating have stopped rotating. Kurapika's emotions also came to an abrupt end at this moment. The groans and wails of the dead tribesmen in his mind caused such anger that the Sharingan could only evolve to 3 Megatama. Wow! When Kurapika looked up at the 3 Gons in front of him, he was surprised to find that the other party's every move seemed to slow down. Every subtle movement is under your sight. Kurapika, your eyes. Leorio pointed at Kurapika's eyes, and as a doctor, he couldn't help but keep staring at the 3 Megatama Sharingan. These eyes are called Sharingan, and they can evolve based on emotions. Kurapika must have thought of something just now, causing great fluctuations in emotions. Mo Lin stared at the gem-like, clear Sharingan and marveled at Kurapika's extraordinary talent. The ultimate form of the Sharingan is the Mangekyo Sharingan. That form of the eye can grant you powerful skills. Powerful skills? Somehow, Kurapika could feel that the Sharingan that had just turned was about to break through some restraints. Maybe I need a stronger emotional stimulus. I need more powerful strength. In Kurapika's heart, every member of the Phantom Troupe was like a spell, circling in his ears day and night. He clenched his right fist, his eyes gloomy. Gon and the other two fell silent when they saw Kurapika's expression. Mo Lin, who was standing by, saw what Kurapika was thinking. This last member of the Kurita tribe in the original novel seemed to be a bit like Zukoji. Okay, everyone, is there anything else you need? Mo Lin interrupted the silence of several people. The atmosphere seemed a little too solemn, and the little fire dragon in his arms was made a little depressed by this depressing environment. By the way, this is the purchase card for Kurapika and Leorio. With this card, you can go back and forth to the blind box store. It's very convenient. Thank you, Mr. Mo Lin. We won't bother you for now. Kurapika and Leorio took the cards, turned around and left with Gon Killua. Looking at the four people's receding backs, Mo Lin sneered. It's going to be a good show. It looks like Phantom Troupe and Kurapika are going to have a big fight soon. Tisk tisk. This way, Yokiksen City. Shulnark traveled non-stop for 3 days, changing 5 modes of transportation, and finally rushed back to the Phantom Troupe's lair. Inside the Phantom Troupe safe house next to the reservoir in the suburbs of Yokiksen City. The 8 members of the brigade sat together, listening to Shulnark's experiences over the past few days, staring intently at the 5 senzu beans in his hand. Captain, this thing is exactly the same as the senzu bean in the previous auction brochure. Yes. After eating it, your injuries will be healed. Maki, the brigade's part-time doctor, couldn't wait to grab the senzu beans from Shulnark and handed them to the 5 injured people lying on the ground. Maki, feed the senzu beans to the 5 of them. Krollo looked downcast as he looked at the 5 men, who were weak, wrapped in bandages, and whose bodies were somewhat out of shape after being beaten. He was always cautious, and he and 5 other members of his team were almost killed in front of the vault door. All the responsibility lies with him. No in-depth identity research was conducted on the providers before the items were stolen. I had collided with an unfathomable strong man. If it weren't for Minun, otherwise, thinking of this, Krollo's wrist trembled slightly. Until now, he still couldn't get over the memory of being bloodbathed when time stopped. He relied on his Nen to allow his consciousness to flow through time. However, he also saw with his own eyes that his team members were hit countless times in the air, and in the end they were beaten beyond recognition. Wow! Captain, Captain, they! Maki's exclamation pulled Krollo out of his feelings of self-blame and fear. In Krollo's sight, the bodies of the people who fell to the ground began to return to their original shapes, and the bandages wrapped around their bodies began to break one by one. Ha 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 ha, alive! Yuvajan's hearty laughter echoed in the small safe house. Yuvajan, keep your voice down. Pa, pa, pa. Nobunaga untied the bandages all over his body and looked at his hands that had regained consciousness. This is incredible, so magical. I thought I would be a useless person with a vague consciousness for the rest of my life. Hey, hey, hey. Nobunaga, you stepped on my hand. Phaeton, who was still lying on the ground, said unhappily. Recovered. These are incredible senzu beans. I want to go to that blind box store. Maki looked at the 4 people who had transformed from disabled people into lively people in an instant, and had endless fantasies about the blind box store that Shulnark mentioned. Everyone! Let's be careful. Yuvajan was about to speak when he tightened his right fist and knocked away the incoming blade. Enemy attack! Enemy attack! In an instant, the 9 people present tensed their spirits, spread out and took defensive postures. Room! A faint voice came from the air. With a bang! With the safe house as the center, a light blue semicircular barrier wraps around the entire safe house. Sniff sniff. Of the 9 people who were originally there, only Krollo, Yuvajan, Shulnark, and some small stones floating in the air remained. What's going on? Where are they? Yuvajan shouted in confusion. Careful! Call out an invisible mental bullet attack came towards the 3 people. Yuvajan, the enhancer Nen with extremely fast reaction speed, turned his strong body and protected Krollo and Shulnark. Boom! There was a loud bang like an explosion, shattering all the windows in the safe house. 2 figures slowly appeared in the safe house. The people who came were Kurapika and Leorio. A day ago, the 4 people who returned from the Mo Lin blind box store used the items they received on themselves as soon as possible. After Leorio ate the operation fruit, based on the information he obtained, he learned to use the ability of the operation fruit in just 1 day. You can freely divide and combine any objects in the hemispherical/global operating room you create. And as a doctor, Leorio quickly developed more practical skills by relying on the power of the surgery fruit. Able to sense any object in space, freely cut, assemble, exchange, manipulate or combine targets in space, people and creatures whose bodies are cut by the person with special abilities in space will not die, nor will they bleed or even feel pain, just like a surgical operation. This can even be used to remove harmful toxic substances from the body of the target being cut off, and even eliminate the sound in the space. Kurapika also mastered the use of the 3 Magatama Sharingan. He can now not only rely on the Sharingan to perform powerful abilities such as observation, copying, and hypnosis. He also possesses extraordinary insight and can observe the flow of chi in the body. After the 4 of them discussed, they launched a surprise attack on the Phantom Troupe. Kurapika stared at Krollo in front of him, wishing she could kill him right away. Krollo, are you ready to die? Chapter 60. Anger. Kurapika was completely consumed by the emotion of revenge. In his eyes, the 3 Krollos in front of him were already 3 living corpses. Nan, manipulator, the chain of contract is activated. In an instant, Kurapika made a chain that wrapped around his 5 fingers, which was his weapon. It represents his own contract, and his determination to drag the Phantom Troupe into hell. Boy, who are you? How dare you come to our Phantom Troupe to cause trouble? A shrill laugh echoed throughout the safe house, and Yuvajin looked at Kurapika and Leorio in front of him with a mocking expression. Boy, you don't even ask about us Phantom Troupe, how dare you come here? Yuvajin, take care of the opponent and we'll go find the others. Krollo keenly perceived that the other party seemed to be well prepared, with the intention of separating the members of the brigade and defeating them one by one. Who could it be? He turned around and was about to leave with Shulnark. Bang! A punch came through the air, shattering the wall behind Krollo, and in an instant, it was a ruin. You want to leave, have you asked me? Kurapika stopped talking nonsense and immediately launched an attack. Boom boom boom. Leorio activated the room space to coordinate with Kurapika's attack, and he was creating opportunities for Kurapika. The feeling of anger reached its peak in an instant. The originally black eyes turned into fiery red gems. Bondage middle finger chain. Ta ta ta. The chain on the middle finger of Kurapika's right hand stretched out, like a nimble colorful snake, swimming in a graceful arc in the air. Binding middle finger chain, a special effect that can only be activated when in the red eyes state. There is a small hook tied to the end of the ring finger. It is an ability created specifically for Phantom Troupe. Due to restrictions and oaths, this ability can only be used on members of the brigade. The bound members of the brigade will be forced into a state of absolute. Boom! Super destruction punch. Yuvajin was ready to strike, gathering strength in his right hand, and in an instant, concentrating all the energy in his body into his right fist. The roar, like a cannonball exploding, pierced into everyone's ears along with the wind from the fist. The small safe house was completely shattered. The horizon has been broadened. The war is about to begin. Krollo then recognized the true identity of the Kurapika in front of him. Her fiery red eyes reminded him of one of the 7 beauties of the world, the fiery red eyes of the Kurita tribe. You are a survivor of the Kurita tribe. Captain, no wonder he wants to kill us, it turns out we killed his entire clan before, ha ha ha. Yuvajin laughed wildly. To him, these blood feuds were the most boring. Since you want to come to Phantom Troupe for revenge, then leave your life here. Boy, after today, there will be no more Kuritas in the world, and your eyes are worth a lot of money. The Kurita tribe. You bunch of scum, you are not qualified to even mention 4 words. Leorio, assist me from the side and keep harassing the opponent. I will give the opponent a fatal blow. Good. According to the predetermined plan, Leorio continuously used room to create opportunities for Kurapika to kill with one blow. A light blue semicircular sphere emerged from Leorio's hand, and the room space created by the power of the op fruit completely enveloped the few people. Krollo wanted to leave, but he found that he couldn't leave. Shulnark, attack from the side and cooperate with me to kill the opponent. Krollo concentrated his mind and started to activate Broken Tail Gecko to add an extra layer of protection to his attack. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. 5 people from both sides engaged in a melee. Super Destruction Fist. A double loop through time and space. Room Slaughterhouse. Sharingan. Various abilities emerged one after another, and Kurapika was determined to kill the opponent, releasing all the nin in his body. With the blessing of constraints and oaths, his ability to face the members of Phantom Troupe has been unprecedentedly enhanced. The two sides were evenly matched. Shulnark, who had been slacking off on the side, could no longer hold back. His nin emitter's puppet phone couldn't join the battle at all. Puppet phone, operating a self-made mobile phone to manipulate humans. The mobile phone has two antennas, one for other people and one for oneself. However, by inserting himself, his telekinesis was enhanced, which was equivalent to turning on the automatic mode and directly entering the battle until he killed the enemy in front of him. During this time, he will be unconscious. In the past, this ability would not qualify one to join a battle of the leaders and Yuvajin's level. However, he just acquired a new ability from Mo Lin's blind box shop. Super Saiyan Transform. Buzz. A majestic aura gushed out from Shulnark, and the golden flame swept over his body. His originally mushroom-shaped golden hair slowly grew along with the golden flame. The angular Saiyan hairstyle soars into the sky. Super Saiyan Transformation, Super Low-Profile Version. Make Shulnark instantly 10 times stronger. Waves of terrifying air hit the four people who were fighting. Puppet phone automatic operation mode, start. The tenfold increased mental power was strengthened again, and another layer of golden air waves enveloped the original golden flame. The terrifying aura from Shulnark attracted the four people in the melee. That's Shulnark. Yuvajin looked in disbelief at Shulnark, whose aura was stronger than his own. Yuvajin, get out of the way, Shulnark is coming. Krollo stepped back on tiptoe, giving the unconscious Shulnark a place to fight. Hunter version of Super Saiyan, Shulnark joins the battle. Speed, extremely fast. The power shatters the mind. At this moment, Shulnark demonstrated what it meant to break all obstacles with one force. In just 2 minutes of fighting, he made Leorio and Kurapika spit blood. Hey! Boy, you are not going to die. You just kept shouting that you wanted to kill us. Now, he was beaten to the point of spitting blood by the weakest one in our brigade. While fighting, Yuvajin did not forget to taunt the two opponents. Shulnark's performance was stronger than both of them. It was quite interesting to watch the show from the sidelines and deal a heavy psychological blow to the opponent. Boy, now I remember, your name is Kurapika. When I was in the Kurita tribe, I killed a little red-haired boy. Before he died, he kept saying that his brother Kurapika would avenge him. You don't know, I crushed his head with one palm. What an annoying little brat. Ha ha ha. Buzz. Kurapika's mind seemed to explode. His younger brother, his dearest younger brother, was still thinking about him before he died. And he actually had his head crushed by Yuvajin. Yuvajin, I'm going to crush your head. This moment. The blood-red eyes began to spin rapidly, and the three Mangekyo Sharingan began to evolve under the stimulation of extreme emotions. In Kurapika's mind, images of the Kurita region began to emerge, with blood flowing and corpses of her tribesmen scattered all over the mountains. When he saw everything, he had a pair of empty eye sockets, like a walking corpse. Heart. It hurts. Wow. The three Magatama disappeared from his eyes, and 4 small swords were evenly distributed around his eyeballs in his deep eyes. Mangekyo Sharingan, evolution complete. Susanoo. A giant skeleton burning with purple flames rose from the ground, and a huge hand rushed straight to Yuvajin's head. Chapter 61. Susanoo no Hui. A power that can only be unlocked by a kaleidoscope, known as the power of God. The gifted Kurapika can jump directly to the first stage of Susanoo when he activates Susanoo for the first time, transforming into a complete skeleton. Red flames rose slowly on the skeleton. Everything around was illuminated red by the blazing flames. The giant skeleton's palm tightly grasped Yuvajin's head and pressed him into the dirt. Sudden changes, Yuvajin was unable to react in time, lost his balance and was completely controlled by Kurapika. The red skull has a terrifying aura. The red skull burning with flames made the usually calm Krollo lose his composure at this moment. Another ability that does not belong to telekinesis. Krollo is a powerful Nin user, and he has done extensive research on this magical ability of Nin. This power that originates from living organisms is the root of power. Everything in the world cannot escape the scope of thought. Only, the giant skeleton in front of him made him lose his mind for a moment. Captain, be careful. Shulnark, in Super Saiyan state, rushed forward, leaped into the air, and used both palms to support the giant skeleton palm that was about to smash towards Krollo. It's so heavy. Captain, go and rescue Yuvajin. The fighter plane is fleeting. During Kurapika's main attack, Leorio, who was assisting, quietly activated room, exchanging Krollo's position with a small stone next to Kurapika. It was not until then that Krollo realized that he might be in trouble this time. The opponent's ability was too strange and completely out of the scope of Nen, but he could clearly feel that telekinesis could strengthen this skeleton giant. Got to do something to save myself. The double ring that travels through time and space is activated. A golden ring the size of a bowl appeared next to Krollo's hand, and another ring quietly appeared behind Kurapika. He punched into the ring. Boom! Kurapika was caught off guard and was sent flying by the punch. The Susanoo state was temporarily released because of this punch. Yuvajin, embedded in the ground, got a temporary respite. Kurapika Leorio asked about Kurapika's status. I'm fine. Leorio, get out of here, or I might hurt you next. Kurapika stood up, his eyes turned a gloomy dark red, and he looked like a roasted shrimp. Leorio glanced at Kurapika and without saying anything, he left the scene with a room and observed the battle from the edge of the room. Yuvajin, I'm going to crush your head right now. The dark red blood eyes began to rotate rapidly, and the Mangekyo Sharingan belonging to Kurapika released his exclusive eye technique. Heaven-given chains. Binding. The Mangekyo Sharingan's eye technique is a reflection of the soul. Kurapika, who witnessed the tragic death of his tribe members, has always wanted to arrest the members of the Phantom Troupe and kill them with his own hands. Heavenly Chains is an absolutely effective magical skill bestowed by God. The stronger the opponent's telekinesis, the harder the chain will be, and conversely the shorter the duration of the bondage. The absolute principle is that the minimum restraint time is 3 seconds. Only one target can be bound at a time. No matter how strong the opponent is, even someone as strong as President Netero, he can be restrained for 3 seconds. Several dark red chains attacked from all directions, binding Yuvajin who had just struggled to stand up from the ground. Swish, swish, swish. The burning dark red chain, the moment it touched Yuvajin's body, the crackling sound continues. A faint aroma of burnt meat wafted through the air. Kurapika, your chains can't even seem to break my defenses. Yuvajin, the strongest enhancer in the Phantom Troupe, was so beaten up that even rockets had no effect on him. Seeing Yuvajin's expression, Kurapika felt relieved. He raised the corners of his mouth and sneered. 3 seconds is a very tight time, so take advantage of the opponent before he has time to react. The chain that bound the middle finger quietly reacted, and the small hook tied to the end of the ring finger began to extend outwards. Several chains were like swimming water snakes, tightly wrapping around Yuvajin's scorched body. Due to the constraints and oaths, this move can only be used on brigade members. Once activated, the bound brigade members will be forced into a Jew state and will be unable to use thoughts. Without the blessing of mind, Yuvajin, the enhancer Nen, is like a lamb to be slaughtered. Shulnark, Yuvajin's mind can no longer be sensed. Quick! Krollo rushed towards Yuvajin who was bound by chains. Shulnark beside him, with golden aura shining all over his body, also ran towards Yuvajin. Susanoo. Kurapika would never give them this opportunity. He had calculated that Captain Krollo had absolute confidence in Yuvajin's ability, and did not launch a rescue the moment Yuvajin was bound by the heavenly chains. The giant skeleton with dark red flames burning all over its body rose from Kurapika's body again, and its wide bone claws once again tightly grasped Yuvajin's head. Completion. In an instant, Yuvajin's head was crushed by the bone claws, and red blood and white brain matter mixed together and sprayed all around from the gaps in the bone claws. Yuvajin. At this time, Nobunaga and Maki, who came from the north, saw Yuvajin's head being crushed and screamed in grief. Da-da-da! Da-da-da! Nobunaga was extremely fast, his feet were like the wind, and he rushed straight towards Kurapika, with the long sword in his hand ready to go. I/slash. Bang! The sword energy passed through Susanoo's body, making only a crisp sound. More and more people are gathering on the chaotic battlefield. The original 9-member Phantom Troupe was reduced to 6 members, dragging their seriously injured bodies. They gathered in the direction of leader Krollo, and the elemental Killua followed closely behind him, holding 2 corpses in his hands, Pakunoda and Finks Mangekyo. Nobunaga, Maki, run away. There are others. Don't look back, the enemy before us is no longer someone we can handle. Krollo was heartbroken. Krollo, who always valued emotions and reason, witnessed the members who had followed him from Meteor City die one by one. But he could do nothing. My orders, scatter and escape. Leave me alone. Krollo yelled. No one noticed that tears flowed from the eyes of this usually rational and serious leader. Krollo Lucifer is the leader of the Phantom Troupe and has the absolute trust and obedience of his fellow members. In the eyes of the members, he is an important part of the brigade, just like the brain. Although the limbs can move without the command of the brain, they are just zombies. Although it has been emphasized since the establishment of the brigade that I am also a part of the brigade, it is not the individual who should survive, but the brigade, and my orders are the top priority, but my life is not the top priority, but most members will still put the leader's life first. Run! Everyone! In Krollo's heart, the survival of the brigade is more important than his own life. Chapter 62. Escape. After giving the final order, Krollo rushed towards Kurapika's position alone without hesitation. Nobunaga looked at the captain who was fighting the skeleton giant alone, and tears came out of his eyes. Walk. In Phantom Troupe, apart from the leader, Nobunaga, who has been with the brigade since its inception, has the second in command within the brigade. When the leader is not around, he is in charge of most things. He followed the commander's orders and escaped with the remaining members. Nobunaga, hurry up, I'll stay behind to cover your retreat. Shulnark, glowing with golden light, rushed directly towards Kurapika. Currently, he and the captain are the only ones in the brigade who still have fighting power. The aura he releases seems to be even more powerful than Krollo. Boom, thinking of Yuvajan's death and the escaped members of the brigade, Shulnark felt extremely determined. I will protect the captain and the members of the brigade. The long golden hair continued to grow, and the originally sky-high golden hair began to spread to the back of the head. Under tremendous pressure, Shulnark transformed into a Super Saiyan and evolved to the second stage. The combat power is 20 times stronger. The overflowing mental power formed a white beam and rushed towards Kurapika and others. Boom boom, at the reservoir on the edge of Yokiksen City, a beam of white light shot up into the sky. The aftermath of the explosion even affected the city. Pala. The glass is broken. All the strong men in Yokiksen City also sensed the explosion on the edge of the city at this moment and rushed here. When the men arrived at the explosion, the dust raised made visibility extremely low. There were 3 corpses with only half of their bodies left, and the faces of 2 of them could be clearly seen. This is the thief from the Phantom Troupe that attacked the auction house last time. One of the auction house's resident and strong men recognized the body on the ground. The Phantom Troupe's men were killed. Who was it? Phantom Troupe. This notorious criminal gang is extremely well known in Yokiksen City, and these guys are so powerful that it is almost impossible to guard against them. Wait, you look there. The smoke and dust gradually dissipated, and not far away, 4 figures slowly walked out. It was the 4 Kurapikas who had just hunted down the Phantom Troupe. Kurapika, did you kill these Phantom Troupe members? Right. Nisla, the leader of the Leeds family in the underworld, pointed at the bodies on the ground with a look of disbelief. Kurapika said nothing, but nodded silently. Buzz. The non-players present all looked at the 4 people in surprise. These half-grown children actually killed 3 members of the Phantom Troupe. Judging from the scene, there might be more Phantom Troupe members here just now. Starting today, these 4 people will probably become famous throughout the entire continent. Extra! Extra! Kurapika, a member of the Nisla group of the Leeds family in the underworld, led a group to hunt down the Phantom Troupe, killing 3 and injuring 6. The record can be checked. 4 teenage licensed hunters, creating another success. Kurapika. The pride of the Nakaleeds family. Team Nisra is invincible. In a short time, the news about the hunting of Phantom Troupe spread throughout the streets and alleys of Yokiksen City. On the newspaper headlines, the photos of the mutilated bodies of Yuvajan, Pakunoda, and Finks Mangekyo stood out. Today, the biggest topic of discussion is the hunting down of the Class A criminal, the Phantom Troupe. It's incredible. These teenagers killed 3 members of the Phantom Troupe. Hey, hey, hey! Can't you see? These 4 kids are licensed hunters. He has a bright future ahead of him. A child in his early teens has accomplished such a great thing. In this era of extremely fast information dissemination, it was really impossible to conceal even the slightest bit of information, let alone such explosive news as 4 hunters in their early teens hunting down members of the A-class criminal Phantom Troupe. Hunter Association, inside the lobby. Vice President Perry Stone was looking at the front page news on the big screen when a photo of 4 young faces suddenly caught his eye. It's amazing, these kids were able to kill 3 members of the Phantom Troupe. Perry Stone looked at Yorkshire beside him and said, Yorkshire, these 4 are new hunters. The association needs to promote them well. Okay, President Perry Stone. Call out. An old figure stood quietly behind the 2 of them. Oh. It's these 4 children. Come to think of it, I have some connection with them. Hey. President Netero, showing up unexpectedly is not a good move. Perry Stone said unhappily. However, there was a question that he had been unable to figure out, and he seemed to have found a close answer. Are President Netero's recent changes related to these 4 children? Perry Stone narrowed his eyes and stared at the green figure of Gon in the picture. Why does this child look so much like someone? Kajin Empire, Kajin Port City. Hisoka was traveling, walking on the street while reading the newspaper in his hand. Tisk tisk, is Little Apple so strong now? Looking at the tragic deaths of Yuvajin and his 3 companions, this battle must have been quite intense. Staring at the picture of Gon on the front page, Hisoka grinned. The little apples became sweeter. I'll come find you in a while. He. Kurulu Mountain, within the Zaldik family. It's incredible that Killua and his friends hunted down members of the Phantom Troupe. Old man Zeno looked with great interest at the photo of his grandson in the newspaper, who was smiling brightly. Father, these kids were able to hunt down the Phantom Troupe probably because of the items in the blind box store. Silva added. Blind box store. It really can change this era. Silva, speed up the search for unique items. We need to earn more blind box points. If necessary, bring back the things we brought out from the Dark Continent that year. As for Kurapika hunting the Phantom Troupe, Mo Lin, who was far away in the sky arena, watched the whole process. Growing so fast. The stronger the customers of blind box stores are, the more people will realize the power of blind box stores, thereby increasing the sales of blind box stores. Thinking of this, Mo Lin called up his own strength panel. System, call up the host panel. Byte owner of Wanja blind box store, Mo Lin None personal skills, Nan's 4 basic skills, World Substitute, God's Alibi, Emperor Engine, 3 color domineering mastery own blind box, no items, 3 fairy beans, Charmander, primary fairy body blind box. 30950 I ordered a blind box worth about 31,000 yuan. Mo Lin murmured. Just when Mo Lin was still thinking about how and when he could earn more blind box points. The door of the blind box store was pushed open. A man with a blue hat and long white hair walked in. Hey? Why is it him? Chapter 63. Name, Kate. Race, human identity, 1-star biological investigation hunter strength, the backbone. The information about the visitor immediately appeared in Mo Lin's mind. How did Kate end up here? With doubts in his heart, Mo Lin looked at him. As the owner of the blind box shop, he welcomed any customer. Hello, Mr. Kate, what can I do for you? I'm Mo Lin, the owner of this blind box store. You can look at the whiteboard on the wall first. There are rules about the blind box store on it. Call me if you need anything. Mo Lin was already familiar with this standard opening line for dealing with newcomers. After saying this, he sat back in the chair at the counter. Little did they know, the words just now caused great waves in the heart of Kate, who was always calm and composed. How does he know my name? With doubts in her mind, Kate looked at the whiteboard on the wall. The whiteboard is densely packed with more than a dozen rules about the blind box store and how to buy blind boxes. A blind box that can contain anything? From the universe. These few short lines gave him a great shock. Is this the guidance the crazy clown gave me? Kate thought to herself. My luck has improved a lot. I found this store right after I arrived. Kate, a 1-star hunter, specializes in biological investigations. 3 days ago, while he was conducting a biological survey on a commission from the Kaken Empire, he unexpectedly encountered a strange blue creature following a red-haired man in the city of Kaken Port. He witnessed the battle scene of the blue creature with his own eyes, a strange ability to return double damage. Under the guidance of the crazy clown, the blue creature was born in this small shop in the sky arena. It's connected. All connected. That blue creature should have come out of the blind box. Boss, can you get a blue creature from this blind box? One with 4 little legs and a black tail, and can also return double damage. Double damage return? You should be talking about Quarren Wing. That is the elf that a customer got from a blind box before. Mo Lin explained. Elf. Is that his name? Kate murmured, stroking her chin. He mentally calculated how many blind boxes he could buy with the money in his pocket. All he had on him was about 1.8 billion yuan. This is the money I saved after working as a biological investigator for so many years by living frugally. Working in biology really doesn't make much money. It's decided. After some inner struggle, Kate made up her mind, inserted her bank card into the blind box vending machine, and entered 10 billion ringgits. The explosion rate of 10 consecutive draws is a little higher. This line of words on the whiteboard is highlighted in red. 10 high-end blind boxes were floating in the air, and Mo Lin watched Kate draw the blind boxes with interest. The probability of a newcomer making a profit is always high. He will, FK. While Mo Lin was still wondering which blind box would produce gold, a series of golden lights began to illuminate the entire blind box store. The first blind box, gold. Mo Lin looked incredulous. The second blind box, gold. Mo Lin gritted his teeth. The third blind box, gold. Mo Lin's eyes almost popped out. It wasn't until the fourth blind box, which was purple, that Mo Lin's excitement calmed down a little. The final result, 3 golds and 1 purple. God-given European Emperor. He is worthy of being the one who can publish a book alone among hunter. I got reincarnated as a red-haired Lolita with a crazy clown. Oh. Is the drop rate of this blind box so high? Kate looked at the 3 golds and 1 purple floating in the air and couldn't believe it. At this moment, he completely forgot about the lucky attribute that the crazy clown brought to him. Crazy clown, this time he becomes a real clown. Information about the 3 gold and 1 purple items began to flood into Kate's mind. After the upgrade of the blind box store, the blind box vending machines are still very user-friendly. When the customer takes out the items from the blind box, the information about the items will directly enter the customer's mind. Generally, there is no need for Mo Lin to explain to customers one by one. Unless it is a very sexy introduction. Gold items, rainbow stone, from the Star Travels world, it is a very rare gem in the universe, indestructible. It can give the holder superpowers that suit their personality. Have you ever fantasized about superpowers? Young man. 6 Paths of Reincarnation, from the Star Travels world, the characters on the umbrella handle represent the names of different points, corresponding to the names of the 6 stars of the Southern Dipper. The function of the umbrella is to induce rain, and the greater the number of points, the greater the rainfall. Dawnwood's superpowers, from the Star Travels world, derived from Dawnwood's personality and the superpowers derived from the rainbow stone, changing the form of the water element, and the solar terms correspond to different elemental effects. Purple items, lucky sieve, from the supernatural world, a 6-sided sieve, your luck will multiply according to the number of lucky sieves you throw. Wow, Mo Lin exclaimed. Is this a disturbance in the Star Travel world? Why are all of them items from the Star Travel world? And it was obvious that this was to give Kate an additional ability of Dawnwood, a low-level law enforcement officer with very mysterious strength. What Mo Lin envies most is the rainbow stone. It can be described as a treasure of the universe, stimulating superpowers according to the user's personality, and most importantly, the upper limit is extremely high. Mo Lin smacked his lips. Congratulations, 3 golds and 1 purple, you are really lucky. Of all the customers, you definitely have the best luck. Thank you, boss. Your blind box store is really amazing. Kate had a calm face, but her heart was already in turmoil. These 3 golden items could greatly enhance combat power when combined together. The 6 Paths of Reincarnation and Dawnwood's superpowers seem to be complementary. The rainbow stone can also stimulate a new superpower, which really maximizes the combat power. Beep beep. Beep beep. Kate's cell phone rang. This is a message from a companion who was conducting a biological survey in the Kajin Empire. Kate, the employer has already paid us and asked us to work quickly. Please come back soon. We will try to finish it within half a month. After reading the message, Kate said goodbye to Mo Lin. Boss Mo Lin, your blind box store is really amazing. I have something else to do, so I have to leave first. Okay. Kate, you're lucky too. Also, this is the purchase card for the blind box store. The function of the card can be found on the purchase card. After taking the purchase card of the blind box store handed over by Mo Lin, Kate immediately went to the Kajin Empire. Looking at Kate's receding back, Mo Lin narrowed his eyes. It looks like the ant incident isn't far away. On the other side, on Kate's way to the Cajun Empire, the southern tip of the Balusa Islands in the European continent, on a dark night, the blue sea reflects the stars in the sky. On the deserted beach, wave after wave of waves hit the golden sand. Sizzle. A creature was washed ashore by the shore. Chapter 64. Tick-tock. Tick-tock. A humanoid ant creature, dragging its broken and bleeding body, walks step by step towards the cliff beside the beach. The injury is too severe. Ka-sizzle. While walking, one of the humanoid ant's arms broke off in half and remained on the sofa. We have to find a way to recover. I can't die here yet. I still have a mission to fulfill. The humanoid ant found a cave on the edge of the cliff to hide in, and its bleeding broken limbs were leaning against the cliff. His eyes were fixed on the full moon in the sky. In the direction of the full moon is its home, the dark continent. I want to give birth to a king. In order to survive, this chimera ant queen from the dark continent began to hunt and absorb nutrients frantically. Sea fish, crabs, clams. Everything in the ocean that contains energy goes into its belly. But this is still not enough. It's not enough. This food is not enough no matter how much you eat. But I can't move. I can't be impatient. I need to let my body recover better. Let your body heal first, then catch a bigger prey. Cajun continent, the interior of the Cajun Empire, Kate has arrived at the destination that needs to be investigated according to the information provided by her teammates. Stuck in the primeval forest east of the Empire. It was Kate's job to conduct biological surveys, new species discovery and ecological surveys at the request of the Cajun Empire. In the heart of the primeval forest, next to the cliff waterfall, Kate takes a short break. During these 2 days on the road, it has had a clearer understanding of the 3 golden items it has obtained. He looked at the rainbow stone on his wrist. The dazzling blue rainbow stone exuded a sense of oppression that made Kate lose her mind for a moment. According to the explanation of the items given in the blind box store, it can give the holder superpowers that suit his or her personality. These days, I can vaguely feel that a force seems to be surging out. But every time at this time, it would shrink back. Why exactly? Are there any conditions required? Kate muttered. Sudden. Boom boom boom. A strong vibration came from the solace of Kate's feet, and the surrounding trees were also rustling. Is the ground shaking? This was the vibration that could only be produced by a large creature running, and Kate suddenly realized something. He looked towards the source of the tremor. Several people in outdoor climbing clothes were running towards Kate. Kate, run, we accidentally provoked a sleeping giant beast. The people who came were members of Kate's biological investigation team. The little ones ran to Kate at a very fast speed, grabbed Kate's hand and ran into the depths of the jungle. Calm down, Wenta. Kate, what are you waiting for? The crazy clown can't fight now, and we can't defeat the behemoth. Wentai looked at the compass in Kate's hand with a nervous look on his face. Yes. Boss Kate, why don't you throw away the umbrella on your back? It will delay your escape. Kate is the leader of the biological investigation team and the only capable person in the entire team. The most urgent task is to run away. Throw the umbrella? Run away? What a joke. Kate looked behind them and saw a giant beast that looked like a Tyrannosaurus Rex, with a red body and covered with scales, chasing the people who were fleeing with its bloody mouth wide open. Really? Kate held onto her blue hat and shook her head helplessly. What a bunch of careless guys. The crazy clown is currently in a mode where he cannot attack because he had drawn number 6, the compass, for the purpose of investigation. He looked at the 6 paths of reincarnation on his back, this umbrella carried from the sky arena all the way to the Cajun Empire. He tried it once during the process. The 6 paths of reincarnation combined with Dawnwood's superpowers can unleash tremendous power. Ability is related to the solar terms, but it also requires a bit of luck. We can only give it a try. You guys stand behind me. The members of the investigation team, who were in a daze, watched Kate pull out the 6 paths of reincarnation from behind and hold it high in the air. The blue umbrella opened and spun rapidly in the air. Boss Kate, it's already this hour, why are you still trying to act cool? The next second when the team members wanted to persuade Kate to run away, they saw a scene that they would never forget. Swish, swish, swish. 6 paths of reincarnation. The umbrella began to rotate, the dark blue umbrella and the red dots echoed each other. Stop 5 o'clock, the sky. Seeing the sky sign on the umbrella handle screen, Kate smiled slightly. Click right. Ziohan call out bits of ice fell from the sky, and bowl-sized chunks of ice kept smashing towards the beast's body. 1, 2, 3. The temperature in the humid and hot jungle began to drop. The grass and trees were gradually covered by a layer of frost, and the whole world seemed like a milky white snowball. Boom! A loud thunder. A giant ice dragon with ice spikes all over its body appeared in the sky, emitting a low dragon roar. Circling above the giant beast again and again. Ziohan, the giant ice dragon. A snow-white dragon's breath rushed towards the giant beast, and in just a moment, the still-running giant beast was frozen into a huge ice sculpture. That's Ice Dragon. Kate's biological investigation team member, Wenta Uras, opened his mouth in surprise. Is this still our team leader, Kate? How come it feels like decades have passed since we last saw each other for a few days? Boss Kate, this. Another team member, Lin Kexi, was so excited that he was speechless. The other team members were deeply shocked when they saw the giant beast that looked like an ice sculpture. Is the person in front of me really Boss Kate? It must be fake. Okay, everyone, get ready and collect data on this giant beast. Beep beep. Beep beep. What's that sound? Several beeping sounds came from Kate's pocket. A second later, Kate immediately realized that it was the notification tone coming from the purchase card. He immediately took out the purchase card from his pocket. Sure enough, it was a new task. Kate didn't even look at it, but just clicked the accept button in the lower right corner of the purchase card. Meanwhile, purchasing card holders around the world are clicking like crazy. NGL, somewhere in a cave. The queen ant looked at the rows of insect eggs hanging on the ceiling of the cave and waited quietly. For several days, it ate all the way from the southern end of the Sand Islands, searching for prey in one area after another, and the south pike was ravaged by the queen ant. The eggs in this area are almost ripe. The queen ant stared at a few cracked eggs and murmured. Sizzle. Badong. Dongsha. The 3 eggs seemed to have heard the queen ant's call, and the ants inside broke out. 3 chimera ant soldiers shaped like crabs, fish, and bats stood in front of the queen ant. Soon more and more eggs burst open, and an army of chimera ants was formed. Soldiers. To give birth to a stronger king. I have to eat more foods that have nutritional value. Go find better food. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Groups of chimera ant soldiers rushed out of the cave. The queen ant looked at the soldiers going out and touched her belly with her right claw. Hurry up, I need more food, and the ant king needs to become stronger, otherwise he will never escape the clutches of those guys. The chimera ants must survive. The queen ant remembered the truth about why she wandered here, and also remembered the pair of claws filled with the blood of chimera ants in the darkness. Chapter 65. New tasks for Blind Box Store. Investigation on invasive alien species. A certain creature from the Dark Continent accidentally came to the human world. According to reliable information, it landed on the coast of a certain continent. Task requirements: investigate the types of alien species, collect relevant information, and submit it to the Blind Box Store. Task reward: 2W Blind Box points. PS, after completing the task, it is possible to trigger subsequent tasks. Mission members, 0/3. 20,000 blind box points. When customers holding the purchase cards saw the tasks pop up on the purchase cards, their fingers were so excited that sparks were about to come out. Ding ding ding. The red button of accept was ruthlessly RD. 1 second later, the mission ended and the 3 members who would participate in the mission were confirmed. Kate. Gone. Killua. The system automatically creates a group chat, exploration team. Kate was stunned when she saw the information of other members displayed on the purchase card. There was an old acquaintance. J Freaks. Gone. Is that kid also a customer of the Blind Box Store? No wonder he was able to hunt down the Phantom Troupe. Beep beep. Group chat exploration team. Gone. Kate, you're here too. Kate, yes, Gone, we better reunite as soon as possible. Gone, where are you? Give us the coordinates. Kate, okay. Kate sent her coordinates to Gone and looked at the content of the mission again. Creatures from the Dark Continent? What a trouble. The Dark Continent, in the minds of those who know of its existence, is definitely a terrifying forbidden land. Just the 5 major disasters that flowed from the Dark Continent to the human world are enough to make people shudder. An unknown creature drifted into the human world, God knows how much disaster it would bring. An invisible fear crept into Kate's heart. We must hurry up and meet up with Gon and the others to find out the true identity of this creature. Kate, long time no see. Gon's voice? Kate looked in the direction of the sound and saw a pink door appear in front of her. Gon and Killua walked out. You guys are too fast! Kate exclaimed, and without saying anything extra, she took Gon and Killua to the employer who commissioned this biological research. After submitting the task to the biological research team, start the investigation as soon as possible. On the way. Kate, what is the Dark Continent? This was the first time Gon had heard of the Dark Continent, and Killua on the side fell silent. Dark Continent? Kate hadn't heard this word for a long time. The last time she heard it was when she met Kim and talked about this place. The human world we live in is made up of 6 continents and 10 regions. I call it the human continent. The human continent is located on the huge Lake Mobius in the center of the Dark Continent. It can be said that the so-called human continent is actually composed of several small islands in the Dark Continent. Small island? When Gon heard the information about the Dark Continent for the first time, he was completely shocked and speechless. Kate's words brought a great shock to Gon's young mind. Wait, then why is there no information about the Dark Continent? The blind student Gon discovered the bright spot. That's because V5 wants to prevent accidents from the Dark Continent, and also to prevent someone from enjoying the Dark Continent privately, which could bring huge benefits. 200 years ago, an agreement was signed to blockade the Dark Continent, and no one or any organization is allowed to go to the Dark Continent. The Dark Continent is a place full of unknowns and dangers. It is also the area that your father Jin has always wanted to explore. As they were talking, Kate and the other 2 had already arrived at the Kajin Empire to submit their mission. The team members were also waiting for him here. After handing over all tasks, the staff member stopped Kate and said, "By the way, Mr. Kate, there is one thing. This is just my personal opinion. Someone sent some strange creature's body parts to South Pies. Since it might be an unregistered creature that violates the law, it cannot be included in the list." Oh? Parts of a strange creature. Wait, a strange creature? Kate suddenly thought of the mission posted on the card she had just purchased. This unknown creature was most likely the creature from the Dark Continent. Gon, Killua. Kate looked at the 2 of them and their eyes met. We thought of the same thing. After saying goodbye to the team members, the 3 of them immediately headed to South Pies. Here, Isaac Netero, the president of the Hunter Association, went to the V5 United Nations alone. V5 inside the office of the President of the United Nations. President Netero, your information does not come from a reliable source at all. V5 has no right to assist you in investigating this matter. UN President Salim narrowed his eyes and smiled. Pa! A big hand slammed heavily on the table. Netero really didn't want to waste time talking to Salim. All he could think about now was that unknown creature. Chairman Salim, you should know how terrifying the creatures in the Dark Continent are. Any one of them could bring about a devastating disaster. Calm down, President Netero. We are talking about you producing evidence to prove that creatures from the Dark Continent have landed in the human world. Otherwise, V5 will be in trouble. Salim waved his hands, looking embarrassed. There is nothing I can do. Netero held the purchase card in his pocket and recalled the information on it. An unknown creature from the Dark Continent has entered the human world. That's too bad. Netero, a top human being, once explored the Dark Continent and knew that any one of the creatures there could bring great disaster to the entire human world. If it's a creature on the level of the 5 disasters, the human world will be in trouble. Netero thought to himself. 5 major disasters: desire-dependent body, gas life form, e-weapons, gold and silver rings. Papa the nurturing beast. Two-tailed snake, the sound of hell's bells. Immortal disease, Zubei disease. Each one of them is a near-devastating disaster to the human world. Thinking of this, Netero felt a wave of fear, as he had witnessed the tragedy caused by these disasters with his own eyes. If Netero knew the exact location, he would have set out on his own long ago, instead of arguing with Salim. Looking at Salim's indifferent face, Net felt helpless. The top management of V5 doesn't care about the lives of ordinary people. Even dogs wouldn't do such a thankless job. And, most importantly, V5 is intentionally suppressing the Hunter Association and suppressing him. Saline in front of us is a good example. Saline, if there really are creatures from the Dark Continent and they cause a disaster, you cannot bear the responsibility. President Netero, you don't have to worry about this. Saline still had a smile on his face. It stands to reason that a strong man like Netero would not receive such treatment, but the top management of V5 has made it clear that they want to suppress Netero, which involves a struggle at the top. The little chairman can only do as he is told. Beep beep. Beep beep. As Netero was in distress, the purchase card in his hand made a beeping sound. After the second generation upgrade, the purchased cards can also be used for communication between holders. Netero looked at the purchase card and saw that the window with Gon's portrait showed an unread message. Gon's message. After reading it, Netero snorted. Saline, you will regret your decision today. President Netero, then you don't have to worry about it. Chapter 66. South Pies. Inside the Institute of Biology. Kate stared at the remains of the creature in the glass case in front of her and looked at it carefully. The phone that was currently on the line was receiving information about the biological limbs that the biological investigation team had just discovered. It's me, Kate. The results are out, and I'll tell you the conclusion first. It looks a lot like the queen of the chimera ants. Hearing the message on the other end of the phone, Kate recalled the information about the chimera ants in her mind. Chimera ant. Chimera ant, what kind of insect is that? Killua asked on the side. It's a kind of ant, an insect that is listed as a first-level quarantine designated species. Level 1 quarantine, is it dangerous? Gon wondered. Kate sighed after searching her mind for information about all the chimera ants. It is very greedy and uses a special egg-laying method called feeding mating. Eating and laying eggs is a process in which the queen of the chimera ant eats other organisms and passes on the characteristics of those organisms to the next generation. It uses stronger genetics to preserve its own species, and will often continue to eat its favorite species until it becomes extinct. And they have a voracious appetite. One bite of the ant's food is equivalent to several times their body weight. The most important thing is that the queen ant is about 10 centimeters long. 10 centimeters long! Killua exclaimed, looking at the limbs inside the glass cover, which must be at least 30 centimeters. This guy is at least 2 meters long, and he can eat humans. Killua said, and the three of them felt their hearts sink. This should be the Dark Continent creature mentioned in Mo Lin's blind box store. How can a chimera ant be 2 meters long? It's connected. Kate's eyes lit up. She didn't expect to find the species of the creature so quickly. The most important thing next was to find the creature. Gon, report to President Netero again that the creature from the Dark Continent is most likely the chimera ant queen. As a message was sent, Kate packed her luggage and prepared to immediately look for traces of the chimera ant queen. We have to meet up with my biological investigation team first. Some of them are experts in using computers. If I had known, I would have brought them here together. Looking for someone. Wait, Kate, I think there's a quicker way. Gon suddenly remembered the searching stick used by Boss Mo Lin in the Greed Island game. Wait for me for a moment. I'm going to see Boss Mo Lin. Buy the card. Start. Call out in an instant, Gon arrived at Boss Mo Lin's store with the purchase card. Gon? Gon, you look so anxious, do you need anything? Boss Mo Lin, is the searching tool you used on Greed Island, the searching cane, available for sale in the mall. Missing cane? Yes, if you pay in full, you get 10,000 blind box points, and 1,000 blind box points for a single use. When he heard the 10,000 blind box point, Gon took out his purchase card. Boss Mo Lin, get the full amount. Mo Lin was stunned for a moment, then gave a thumbs up, so generous kids nowadays are really rich. They can spend 10,000 yuan on a blind box without blinking an eye. Swipe your card, pick up the goods, and leave. All in one go. Gon got the searching stick and immediately returned to Kate. Looking at the disappearing figure, Mo Lin chuckled, it seems that the chimera ant queen has been found. How quick! Here, in less than 5 minutes, Gon returned to Kate with a searching stick in hand. This is? Killua asked, pointing at the cane in Gon's hand. This is the quicker method I just thought of, the searching cane. The direction this cane points to is the direction of the target. After that, Gon followed the instructions for the finding stick, stood the stick up, and muttered the target he was looking for. Pa! The cane fell to the ground, pointing southeast. Let's go. We'll go there according to the instructions of the cane. Kate and Killua followed Gon, half believing and half doubting, following the direction indicated by the cane. NGL domestic, in this country where there are no mechanical products at all, the people live a life of men farming and women weaving. This world, completely isolated from the outside world, is the best breeding ground for chimera ants. In a farmland somewhere, villagers are working hard on the farm. Whether this year's harvest will be good or not depends entirely on now. Kelly, you plowed your land so well, the harvest this year will surely be very good. Sorry, I promised Ji-Yan that your skill in weaving rattan baskets is getting better and better. When the harvest comes this year, I will make up the money for the rattan baskets for you. There's no rush. NGL is like a paradise, and the people living here lead a simple daily life. Farm, work, eat, and sleep. The pace is very slow. But all this beauty is about to be broken. What is that? All I saw was a dark mass in the sky, covering the entire sky. Is that a bug? A really big bug. Ah! The mosquito-like flying insect in the lead stretched out its long mouth parts and penetrated directly into the villagers' brains. Hurry, hurry, run! It was an army of chimera ants led by the birdman chimera ant Corrido, who began to capture humans frantically to provide nutrients for the expectant queen ant. Countless flying chimera ants, each holding a human, rushed towards the nest where the queen ant was. The queen of the chimera ant will continue to migrate until she finds a place that satisfies her. During migration, the number of soldier ants will slowly increase to guard the residence. Once the location is determined, a large number of construction ants will remain and build the city at an astonishing speed. The queen will then live in the city until she dies. At this time, the queen's appetite reaches its peak, and the soldier ants have to supply a large amount of food to the queen. Throughout the NGL region, the population is disappearing madly in villages. Here, after 2 days of searching, the searching stick pointed us to a relatively specific place. NGL Nation. Kate, Gon, and Killua followed the driver's instructions and arrived at the entrance to the NGL border. There is a huge river about 100 meters wide between NGL and the neighboring country, and the two adjacent lands are connected by 2 giant trees with a chest diameter of dozens of meters. Kate was no stranger to such spectacular sights. This is the NGL border. That's their checkpoint and embassy. The driver pointed to 2 huge trees and said, "The residents here are very strange, and your visit to this place is also very strange. What could possibly be in such a remote place? Today alone, I've picked up 10 groups of guests like you. 10 groups. We seem to be late." The driver's simple conversation made Kate realize the seriousness of the matter. In the territory of NGL, the chimera ant from the Dark Continent was probably madly preying on humans. This situation has been noticed by so many people. Gon, Killua, keep up, we need to speed up the trip. Send a message to President Netero. The target has been found. It's in NGL. Chapter 67. In the heart of NGL, inside the queen ant's nest. There were piles of human corpses, forming several small hills in the huge nest. Blood was flowing everywhere and the death was miserable. These are the number of prey captured for the queen ant by her soldiers in one day. All division commanders, assemble. All division commanders, assemble. Her Majesty the Queen summons us. Deep in the cave, a chimera ant with an octopus head and a human body delivered a message to the waiting division commanders. Oh. After a moment, all the division commanders stood in front of the queen ant, waiting for orders. The weak queen ant laid on the couch, raised her arms, and gave the order. From today on, I will concentrate on giving birth. 50 per day. Send the humans to me. 50 items. Just the current need. The queen ant looked up at the dense rows of ant eggs hanging on the top of the cave and gently stroked her belly. It can sense that the king in its stomach is in urgent need of nutrition, and the mission of the chimera queen ant is to give birth to the most powerful ant king. After seeing off these division commanders, the queen ant came to the deepest nest alone. The longer she stayed in the human world, the more strange feelings she had. As it ate more humans, a small amount of human blood also mixed into its body. It produced a definite premonition, as if wanting to go back in time, with the image of the unborn child emerging in the mind's eye. Da-da-da. Not long after, the queen ant walked into another cave. Inside the cave, 3 huge ant eggs were hanging high in the air. Within the chimera ants, there is a strict and clear hierarchy, from low to high: combat soldier/manual soldier, army commander, division commander, direct guard, and queen. But once the king is born, the direct guard will be directly responsible to the ant king. The king's personal guard. I will personally name you. For the queen ant, its mission is to give birth to the king ant, and its love for the king ant transcends everything. Here, Kate, Gon, and Killua entered NGL. Following the guidance of the searching stick, we searched along the coastline of NGL. According to the characteristics of chimera ants, they would build huge nests, which must be very conspicuous. The 3 people on horseback were constantly exchanging the information they had obtained. There have been no reports of sightings of giant insects, and even if there were, no one in this country would make a fuss about it. They believe that even if they are attacked and killed by animals, it is the fate of being a natural creature. As Kate spoke, she looked at the 2 guides sent by NGL following behind her. This country is very strange, full of mysteries, as if it is deliberately hiding something. From the diplomatic visa checkpoint at the beginning to the so-called guides for negotiations with special language areas and undeveloped tribes behind them, they were actually here to monitor Kate and the other 2. Let's go. Let's keep moving forward. A faint wailing sound came from the interior of the forest, and Gon, who had sharp ears, raised his head and looked in the direction of the sound. Scream! Gon exclaimed. What's going on, Gon? There's no screaming. Killua looked at Gon in confusion. I have had sharp 5 senses since I was a child. I seemed to hear a faint scream just now. Let's go and take a look. Kate jumped off her horse and ran straight into the depths of the dense forest. At this time, running was more convenient and faster than running on horseback. And he had a hunch that this scream must be related to the target this time, the chimera ant. The guide who was watching from the side saw Kate and the other 2 running straight into the dense forest, and immediately followed them on horseback. Da-da-da. Deep in the forest, several chimera ant soldiers surrounded several hunters who came to investigate. It can be said that there are so many such creatures. Hunter Baoker felt his scalp tingling when he saw several strange creatures surrounding him. A few days ago, I came here at the request of my employer to investigate why people frequently disappear in NGL. There are 5 hunter teams in total, and none of them have been contacted until now. Moreover, since the past 2 days, these strange-looking insects have been constantly attacking their team. Very powerful and difficult to deal with. Baokur, help! One of the companions screamed loudly when he saw the mantis chimera ant appearing behind him, and his legs became unable to move. The strength of this creature has already frightened him. Get out of the way! Bakur activated his telekinesis all over his body, leaping towards the mantis chimera ant 7-colored bow and arrow. Bakur, a transmuternan, gathered a telekinetic bow and arrow in his right hand. With a whoosh sound, the arrow pierced through the mantis chimera ant's head. Run! When they turned around, the underground, the jungle, the sky. A dozen chimera ants of different styles suddenly appeared and surrounded the few people again. After killing one, more than 10 came and it was impossible to kill them all. Ka! A mosquito chimera ant hanging in the air stretched out its mouth parts and pierced directly through the head of its companion next to Bakur. White brain juice mixed with blood spurted into the sky as the mouth parts were pulled out. Ha ha ha! I can see clearly that you humans are different from other humans. There is a kind of energy in your body. This energy is the highest level of nutritional food for the queen. To these chimera ants, thoughts are full of danger, but also sweet and tempting. The chimera ants rushed forward, 1, 2, 3 fell one by one. Baoker watched his companions die one by one with his own eyes, and his heart was broken. He mobilized all his mental power and ran desperately towards the depths of the forest. Pence is dead too, all dead. I must stay alive, I must get the news out of NGL. Dead legs, move. Ah. Among the chimera ants, there is a scorpion-shaped female chimera ant with purple hair. She is the division leader chimera ant Zazan. She looked at the fleeing Bakur with amusement. Humans are really interesting. Their expressions of fear make people's blood boil. It's so interesting. Let's go and hunt that human. After receiving the order, the lower-level chimera ants chased after Bakur. Bakur, who was trying desperately to escape, suddenly saw 3 figures appear in front of him. It was Kate and the other 2 who came to check out the situation. That is Gon and Killua exclaimed as they looked at Bakura, who was running wildly and covered in blood. Exploding cure. Gon, Killua. Bakura also recognized the person. One of the three greatest joys in life is meeting an old friend in a foreign place, although the three of us are not considered old friends. But for Bakura, who was in a life and death situation, seeing someone he knew always made him feel warm in his heart. Gon Killua. Before Bakura could finish his words, a huge scorpion tail dropped from the sky and seemed to pierce through his body. Oops! Gon saw this and immediately shouted. Star Platinum. Chapter 68. The situation is urgent. Before anyone could react, Gon watched the scorpion tail falling from the sky and activated Star Platinum at the moment when it was about to pierce Bakura's body. Time stops. Now, under Gon's training, Star Platinum can stop time for 6 seconds. In 6 seconds, you can do a lot. Call out. Gon rushed in front of Bakura in one step, and the Star Platinum floated in the air, and his powerful fists rained down on the scorpion tail. Boom boom boom. 6 seconds are up. The world starts to turn. Gon rescued Bakura and brought him behind Kate. The owner of the scorpion tail was the division commander Zazan, who looked at Gon and the other three with a pained look. A dozen chimera ants led by division commander Zazan confronted Kate and the other four. The atmosphere between the two sides was very tense. Bakura, are you okay? Gon comforted the trembling Bakura. Sh. Bakura grabbed Gon's hands and said with a trembling voice. Gon, run. Those creatures are too powerful. Get the news about NGL out. As he spoke, he took out a piece of paper from his pocket, which contained what their team had seen and heard in the past few days. Calm down, Bakura, trust us. Killua snorted. His whole body was elementalized, ready for battle. There was a faint sense of pressure coming from the creatures across from them, especially the woman with the scorpion tail. On the other hand, Zazan on the opposite side still felt a trace of pain in his tail. But his eyes had begun to shine, as Zazan sensed stronger abilities than Bakura from the three people in front of him. Ah! Such a sweet smell, really intoxicating. The telekinesis in the human body is comparable to the sweetest food to the chimera ants, and Zazan showed an intoxicated expression. Lord Zazan, shall we attack? Nonsense. Of course we have to attack. I will definitely be praised for presenting these sweet treats to Her Majesty the Queen. Boom. A yellow figure appeared on the tree trunk next to Zazan at an extremely fast speed with a swish. Hey, hey, hey. Zazan, eating alone is not a good habit. Slurp. A leopard chimera ant licks its paw gently. Kiju, you have a really good nose. Zazan looked at Kiju who was standing on the tree trunk and snorted coldly. Kido and she are both chimera ants at the same level of division commander. They are competitors and have some conflicts between them. Now I feel even more unhappy when I see him. Zazan, you are not going to secretly eat such sweet food without telling the queen, are you? Bullshit. How dare you slander me? Zazan started cursing, saying that Kido was trying to kill him by throwing dirty water on him in front of so many chimera ants. Within the chimera ants, there is a strict hierarchy. The queen is the supreme ruler and the division commander is responsible to the queen. If he embezzled the queen's sweet food and the queen heard about it, his life as the division commander would be in danger. Hehe, why are you so anxious, Zazan? I didn't say it right, did I? Kido looked at Zazan's frustrated look with great interest. He just wanted to see Zazan suffer a setback. Well, let's kill these people in front of us and quickly present them to the queen. In Gio's eyes, all human beings are nothing more than lambs to be slaughtered. Humans with telekinesis are even sweeter lambs. Besides, the energy in the bodies of the three people in front of him is not very strong. Look at me, the king of speed, Kido, who can take down these humans directly. Zazan, whoever kills it will be the prey. Let's compete fairly. Call out. Kido's figure disappeared in an instant and appeared in front of Gon the next second. And Zazan behind him was not willing to be outdone. If he was all killed by Kiju, all his great achievements would be wasted. This was the first time she had seen prey of this level. Bang! Zazan leaped into the air, and the scorpion tail behind him pierced Killua straight away like a broken arrow. The dozen or so captains of the troops behind him were not willing to be outdone and also wanted to compete for the credit. The credit is easy to come by. Zavarado. Boom boom boom. Boom boom boom. Gon activated the time stop again and combined with Star Platinum to break the Chimera Ant's attack. What level are you? You can catch it easily. Have you asked me if I have Star Platinum? When time started to turn again, Zazen and Killua had already flown dozens of meters away. It hurts so much. Kido covered his painful cheek and looked at Zazen beside him. I feel like I got slapped in the face. Me too. Zazen covered his cheeks in the same way. Looking at the fallen Chimera Ant, the two were bewildered. What exactly happened just now? Why didn't the four people on the opposite side move and still stand there? I don't know what's going on, but keep attacking. Kido didn't care what happened. All he wanted to do now was to kill the four people in front of him and send them to the queen. He wanted to gain the queen's attention. Killua, the leopard-shaped Chimera Ant, is the fastest among all the division commanders, and he just acted out of righteousness. With a light tap of his feet, he jumped in front of Gon. But this time, an equally fast blue lightning blocked Kido's attack. Killua, the user of the Thunder Fruit, is here. Pikachu, come out. Huangpi Rat makes a grand appearance. Pikachu, 100,000 volts, thick yellow lightning struck from the sky and landed on several Chimera Ant soldiers. Everyone is here. The battle is about to begin. Gon, Killua and Pikachu launched an attack, while Kate stood still to protect the injured Bakugo. 30 million volts. Thunderbird. Pikachu Jawalyado. More and more Chimera Ants joined the battle, and the scene was chaotic for a while. The sounds of fighting here attracted more Chimera Ant soldiers nearby. The black and overwhelming army of Chimera Ants attacked Gon and his four companions. Hey, hey, hey! You two are really tenacious. Kido no longer chooses to engage in a head-on confrontation, but instead waits for more and more Chimera Ants to gather, intending to use human wave tactics to kill the three people in front of him. Killua, is this your prey? How tempting! The leader of the lion-shaped Chimera Ant Lion, Lialu, looked at Gon and the other two with a sly expression. The vigorous mental power emanating from the body is like sweet honey. So tempting. Her Majesty will be very pleased. Yet. Zazen agreed. She had a smile on her face, but she was actually cursing in her heart. With the addition of this lion, I don't know if I can grab the credit. Zazen, you are so lucky to find such prey. The credit belongs to me. Soldiers, attack! Huff, huff, huff. Densely packed, countless hordes of Chimera Ants began to pounce on Kate and her companions. Gon, Killua! Get behind me! 6 paths of reincarnation. Kate pulled out the umbrella from behind her, held it above her head, and opened it. Unexpectedly, the number of the Chimera Ant army is so large that even Crazy Clown cannot cope with the current situation. Umbrella turning. Tianxiang 5 o'clock. Point right. Summer solstice. Chapter 69. The 6 realms of reincarnation turn. The clear sky was suddenly dyed with a strong red color. Directly above the 6 paths of reincarnation, the clouds gradually became dyed red and turned into a swirling vortex. So red that it's breathtaking. That's... Leolu was completely stunned as he stared at the red vortex, and spots of fiery red light gradually appeared in his eyes. Run! The division commander is very vigilant. If there is anything wrong on the battlefield, he will run away quickly. When the other Chimera Ant soldiers had not yet reacted, Leolu had already run dozens of meters. Boom boom boom! The ball of light wrapped in flames dripped onto the Chimera Ant soldiers like a rain of magma, corroding their bodies. Ah! The Chimera Ants who reacted retreated one after another. Escape from this world-destroying natural disaster. Why are you panicking? It's just lava rain, isn't it? Zazen stepped forward and organized the chaotic Chimera Ant army. A small amount of lava rain scared the Chimera Ant army into a state of disarray. How shameful! If the queen knew about this, wouldn't it be a slap in the face of Zazen? Bring it to me. That's nutritious food. If you offer it to the queen, you will definitely be rewarded. After hearing the queen's commendation, the originally chaotic Chimera Ant army began to stop and take shelter in an orderly manner from the lava rain falling from the sky. There is a strict hierarchy within the Chimera Ants. The queen reigns absolutely. For the queen. I don't know which Chimera Ant shouted first, but soon more and more Chimera Ants began to wave their claws and shout. For the queen! For the queen! With the spiritual slogan, the Chimera Ants began to organize the next wave of attack in an orderly manner. The army captain led his combat squad and started the charge. The division commander stood in the center of the team, looking at Kate and the other three in front of him, looking for an opportunity to kill them with one blow. Zazen, you are really capable of bewitching the hearts of these soldiers. Kido looked at Zazen playfully. Kido, watch your words. For the queen. Okay, okay. For the queen. Then I will present these prey to the queen. With the sound of whoosh, Geo disappeared on the spot. Here, Kate frowned as she looked at the sky where lava rain was continuously falling. Kate, what are you looking at? Killua asked. 5 o'clock. That shouldn't be the case. Why is there only one wave of lava rain? There's nothing we can do but fight. Kate couldn't hesitate too much. In front of him, swarms of chimera ants were rushing towards him. Kiju, who was in the lead, looked even more excited. He. What a sweet prey. Boom. Before Kid could finish his words, he felt as if he had been hit hard in the face and flew dozens of meters away. It hurts so much. Who gave me a big bag? Kido, who had fallen to the ground, stood up quickly, covering his swollen cheeks, and his whole head felt dizzy. Moo. A huge bull roar made its eardrums buzz. That's... Kido, who was awakened by the roar of the bull, saw a huge monster that he would never forget in his life. A giant red bull as tall as a hill, with flames burning all over its body, was staring at it with glowing eyes. 5 o'clock, celestial sign, summer solstice. Officially here. Moo. The flaming bull started a war and trampled on the enemy. Da-da-da. Every step created a half-meter deep pit on the ground, and in the pit were 3 or 5 corpses of chimera ants. Calm down, why are you running? It's for the queen. Zazen still wanted to fly over the hill of fire bulls and bring the prey to the queen. However, in the face of the absolute disparity in size between the two sides, the chimera ant soldiers sent out greetings from the soul. Why the hell, why don't you go by yourself? Big. Boom. Yanyu found the right opportunity, picked out the most conspicuous Zazen, and gave him a 1,000,000-ton blow. Both hooves are raised high in the air. Tread moo. The next second, Zazen felt a black screen in front of his eyes. There's not even enough time to feel the pain. I received a box lunch on the spot. Big BD, you're dead. Brothers, run. The division commander is dead, I am the acting commander of our division, retreat only by living, can we better serve the queen? For the queen. Escape. For the queen. For a moment, the army of chimera ants fled in all directions and was completely defeated. At this moment, seeing the appearance of the fire demon bull, Bakuer's jaw dropped to the ground in shock. No, buddy. If you have such strength, why didn't you show it earlier? You made me worry for most of the day. After escaping death, Baokul's back was soaked with sweat. Kate, on the other hand, said calmly. Right. This is the strength that 5 points should have. The combination of the 6 paths of reincarnation and Dawnwood's abilities can summon the solar terms to attack. The 5-point celestial attack usually summons a powerful beast with different attributes based on the solar terms. The strength was beyond Kate's imagination. At this time, when Gon and Killua saw the appearance of the fire monster, there was only a hint of shock in their eyes. This look, these are the items from Mo Lin's blind box shop. Gon, Killua, aren't you shocked? Bakuer looked at his old acquaintance who was equally calm. Obviously, we all took the hunter exam together. How come only a few months have passed and I can't even see your tail lights anymore? What happened between Gon and Killua during this time? The purple giant behind Gon and Killua can transform into lightning bodies, no matter how I look at it, it doesn't look like Nen. Alright. Let's contact President Netero as soon as possible and report the situation here. As expected of a veteran hunter, his thinking is clear. The most urgent task is to find a place with a signal and pass the information to President Netero. After settling Bakuer, continue exploring the creature's situation. The blind box store's mission has not been completed yet. After realizing the powerful strength of the 6 paths of reincarnation, Kate became curious about the legendary blind boxes and epic blind boxes. Over here, inside the Queen Ant's nest. In front of the Queen Ant, all the division commanders gathered here. Geo and Lialo told the Queen what had happened today in an exaggerated way. What? There is such a strong human, Kido, you are not lying to the Queen because you failed to catch the prey. The bull-shaped chimera ant, Division Commander Bai Hong expressed doubt about what Kido said. Kiju, what do you mean by discrediting me in front of the Queen? Ask Laolu yourself, what happened at that time? Zazan died on the spot. The Chimera Ant army saw it with their own eyes. Kido pointed at Baiyong and shouted in an excited tone. I'm working so hard on the front line to find food for the Queen, and you old cow, you still question me? Alright. Be quiet. This matter is over now. Nephi Bito, you go and bring back the prey yourself. From the cave behind the Queen, a white-haired humanoid catwoman slowly walked out. She exuded a purple-black aura that suppressed all the division commanders present, making them unable to move. A blood pressure made all the division commanders begin to respect Catwoman from the bottom of their hearts. My dear Queen! The King's personal guard, the Nephi Bits, will personally present the prey to you. Chapter 70. NGL Border Entrance. After Kate sent Bakuer out of NGL, she immediately reported the news to President Netero. President Netero, this is what we saw in NGL. The creature from the Dark Continent should be the Chimera Queen. And the most terrifying thing is that the entire NGL territory is probably overrun with Chimera Ants. Gon, Killua, and I encountered a division commander level Chimera Ant this time. Each one is much stronger than an ordinary hunter. What I'm worried about now is that the Chimera Ants will capture Hunter and force him to tell me how to practice mindfulness. If that happens, then... Kate reported everything she had seen and heard, as well as her concerns, to President Netero. As a biological hunter, he has collected enough information on Chimera Ants. This horrible creature is multiplying and spreading at an incomprehensible speed. What he is most worried about now is the Chimera Ant King and the King's direct guards. Their strength is probably unmatched except for those few people. On the other end of the phone, after listening to Kate's report, Netero felt a sinking feeling in his heart. Okay Kate, you guys stay safe. Wait till I get there. Then explore the Chimera Ant nest. Beep beep. After hanging up the phone, Netero fell into silence for a long time. A day ago, there was news from a hunter team. Regarding the news about Chimera Ants, after discussion, V5 gave the overall danger level of Chimera Ants a B. This also includes the Ant King and his 3 direct guards. Among the entire Chimera Ant colony, only these 4 are truly top fighters. Therefore, the initial plan to lead the 12 earthly branches to deal with the invading creatures in the Dark Continent was rejected by Netero after he learned that it was the Chimera Ant Queen. The B-level threat is not only not a threat in the eyes of V5's top management, but it is also an insignificant crisis for NIT. Netero, who had personally dealt with the 5 major disasters from the Dark Continent, didn't take B-level threats seriously. After all, any one of the 5 major disasters is rated A-level, and each of them has the potential to destroy human civilization. Now, he wants to have a 1v1 duel with the Ant King. Since his physical strength returned to its peak, he felt that he was now more than twice as strong as he was when he was younger. In addition to the Chimera Ant crisis, what he is most worried about now is that his son Bai Yang will secretly bring back disasters from the Dark Continent. No, I have to explain things before I leave. Da-da-da. Netero returned to his office. Demianran, turn on the video recorder in the conference room, and notify Mo Lin to go to NGL with me. Here, in NGL territory. After reporting the information to President Netero, Kate and the other 2 decided to go back and find out more about the Chimera Ants. The task given by the blind box store shows that the progress has reached 80%. During the journey, the 3 of them were discussing what the last 20% was. For the remaining 20%, will it be necessary for us to collect information about the Queen Ant, the King Ant, and their direct guards? Killua said, pointing at the Chimera Ant level classification chart Kate had drawn. The Chimera Ants are a species with a strict hierarchy. We have already seen the lowest level combat soldiers and menial soldiers. I have also seen the army commanders and division commanders, and have a clear understanding of their strength levels and main duties. Yes. Gon slapped his head. Killua, you are smart. Okay, let's follow Killua's advice and continue collecting information on the Chimera Ants. After packing their luggage, the 3 set sail again to find the Chimera Ants nest. On the other side, inside the Chimera Ants nest, Nephi Bito, the Catwoman from the Direct Guard team, was using several needle-like objects to pierce the brain of a living hunter. This living hunter is one of the 5 exploration teams like Bakuer. But unfortunately, he was captured alive by Nephibit. As the King's Direct Guard, her bloodline is inherently at the top of the Chimera Ant pyramid. As soon as she was born, she felt this strange energy in the human body. Sweet and delicious, yet incredibly powerful. Hunter, who was already half dead, began to tell everything he knew about Nan's practice method. There are 6 systems in total, and everyone will spend most of their time increasing the amount of their own chi and using it. In Nan, in addition to basic abilities such as Jutsu and Ren, there are also abilities that reflect the personality of the ability user. Whether individual abilities fit with the system they belong to is very important. After listening to the information about the 6 systems, Nephibito continued. What are the 6 systems of judgment? Mizumi style is the simplest method, and the most commonly used method. The method of use is. The controlled hunter has begun to be unable to speak normally. This control method that directly destroys the brain has almost made him lose the ability to speak. After hearing all the information about Nan, the corners of Nephibito's mouth rose. Looking at the chimera ants beside him, everyone, give Mizumi Shiki a try. Wow! A chimera ant placed its hands on either side of a water cup, and the water in the cup overflowed. Enhancer. Nephibito saw the overflowing water, and his fingertips brushed across Hunter's neck in front of him, sending him away. Pass on the practice of Nian. Before the king is born, the chimera ant army must become even stronger. For a moment, in the chimera ant nest, the news spread throughout the cave. Leader of the corps, Nephibito, notifies all division commanders and army commanders that a training ceremony will be held in the first lecture hall. You will use a little pain to gain great power. You must make full use of this power to serve Her Majesty the Queen. Over here, after learning Nan, Nephibito feels more powerful than ever before. The already keen perception ability seems to have been unprecedentedly enhanced once again. Now she can even sense the tiny particles floating in the air. My mission as the Legion Commander is to protect the Queen and the King. In order for the King to be born smoothly, the Queen Ant needs more nutrition. It's time to capture the human who killed Zazen for the Queen. A strong human must have more nutrients in his body. Nephibito muttered. Moreover, she recently felt that there were always a few little mice hanging around the nest. Kiddo, Lialu, follow me and kill the little mouse. Call out. Nephibito jumped up and appeared outside the nest the next second. She leaped into the air and released all the thoughts in her body. The circle technique is the best Nan technique that Nephibito has mastered. With her innate keen senses, she has already discovered 3 little mice running around. Chapter 71. The dense forest near the chimera ant nest. Kate and the other 2 moved quickly through the dense forest. The 3 had found this place a day ago. The strangely shaped mountains in front of them and the chimera ants coming in and out further confirmed what they were thinking. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The 3 of them passed through the leaves and stood on a giant tree several dozen meters high, looking at the nest in front of them. Kate, this should be it. All chimera ants have to go in and out through these holes. Killua, who has the ability to fly, has a reconnaissance field of vision far beyond the other 2. Combined with the enhancement of perception by the thunder fruit, Killua can now be said to be a human radar. Get ready for battle. Call out. Killua suddenly sensed an extreme malice in the air. It seems like it wants to tear itself into pieces. The whole body is transformed into elements. The power of thunder and lightning is turned to maximum. Boom, like a cannonball fired from a gun. He ran straight towards a petite black figure in the air. 30 million volts Lei Ying. In an instant, a flash of lightning flashed across the dark sky, illuminating the entire mountain range. The lightning and Nephibito's body collided for the first time. However, as Nephibito was a member of the direct guard team, the lightning only caused temporary paralysis to her body. Looking at Killua, who turned into a ball of blue and white lightning in midair, Nephibito's eyes were filled with curiosity. What kind of ability is this? Does it belong to Nan too? It can actually transform into lightning, as if it is pure element. After a round of fighting, Nephibito retreated to a cliff and looked at the 3 people opposite with interest. Nutrition. All nutrition. The mental power of Kate and the other 2 surged out of their bodies. In Nephibit's perception, it was like 3 flames in the darkness, clear and bright. The sweet scent emitted by the telekinesis intoxicated Nephibito. Chimera ants judge food based on its nutritional value. Compared with humans, the stronger you are, the sweeter it tastes. Call out. Nephibito flashed and launched a second round of attack. Next second, she appeared next to Kate and Gon, and with her claws focused, she attacked Gon's arm. The whole process took less than 2 seconds. Nephobito's speed was so fast that Kate felt her scalp tingling. Gone, be careful. Kate was about to return to defense when she heard a dull groan in the air. Zawarado. Buzz. A purple giant appeared out of nowhere, and a strange light radiated in all directions with the platinum star as the center. Time stops. The absolute bug ability gave Gon a chance to breathe. Nephibito's eyes were rolling around as time stopped. Next second. Bang boom. Gon and Star Platinum punched at the same time, fists as big as casserole pots, attacking Nephibito's body like raindrops. Boom boom boom. Gon. The opponent's consciousness doesn't seem to be stopped in time. The sense of alienation coming from the surface of the fist, coupled with the movement of Nephibito's eyeballs, it made Star Platinum realize that the cat-like woman in front of him was much stronger than anyone he had ever met. This woman is very powerful, run away. Gone. Time stop ends. The fallen Nephibito stood up instantly, his whole body was filled with more malice than before, and his face became increasingly hideous. Interesting, very interesting. This little guy also has the ability to stop time. Is that purple giant also Yurnan? Nephibit walked towards Gon. With every step she took, the pressure from her grew stronger. Gon stood still. My heart couldn't stop beating wildly. So strong. It's so stressful that I can't breathe. Gon didn't dare to move, for fear that he would relax a little and reveal a flaw. He had a feeling that if he turned around and ran, he would be torn to pieces in the next second. Call the sounds of panting and heartbeats intertwined together, and the huge pressure coming from the Nephibitos made Gon and the other two unable to move. 4 people confront each other. The battle came to a stalemate at this moment. Kate's brain raced. Catwoman is very powerful, arguably stronger than the 3 of them combined. Whenever Star Platinum used time stop, she would seize the opportunity to wrap herself in energy and protect herself. There are almost no shortcomings. Is this the Chimera Ant's direct guard team? Kate's heart was in his throat. He didn't expect that he still underestimated the strength of the Chimera Ant. The direct guard and the division commander are simply 2 different species. Gon, Killua, back off. Activate Plan 1. Kate retreated, and Gon and Killua immediately took action after hearing Kate's words. Plan number 1, this was the escape plan the 3 of them had planned before they came. When you encounter an opponent you cannot handle, activate the purchase card from the blind box store to escape. Anyway, it's just a matter of thought. However, before that, Kate plans to do something big. Towards the Chimera Ant's nest, charge. I'd rather die than kill a few more Chimera Ants. Nephibito was a little confused as he looked at the 3 people running towards the Chimera Ant's nest. Are these 3 people willing to die? Humans are really interesting. How interesting. Nephibito laughed. She laughed at the weakness of Kate and the other 2, and at the fact that they wanted to kill a few more Chimera Ants before they died. Humans are so weak and pathetic. This time, Nephibito did not choose to attack Kate and the other 2 directly, but followed behind them like a hunter playing with his prey. She wanted to see her opponent in complete despair. However, Chimera Ants are Chimera Ants, and she had never anticipated the sinister intentions and endless malice of humans. The entrance to the Chimera Ant nest. Kate and the other 2 have arrived, and the leaders of the Chimera Ant division have been waiting here for a long time. It's really rare that the prey comes to your door. Kiju, look at those 3 humans, they are frightened by Lord Nephibito and are running towards us. Lialu, they are the direct guard team. Their bloodline is 1 level higher than ours, they are really powerful. Even though Kido was standing in the nest, he could still feel the pressure from Nephibito in the dense forest. So powerful. So powerful that there is no thought of resistance. After arriving at the Chimera Ant's nest, the situation changed. It was 4 against 1 just now, but now it has become 4 against 100. However, Kate and the other 2 were not panicked at all. Are you ready? Kate asked. Ready. ×2 protect me. Kate said, and pulled out the 6 paths of reincarnation from behind. Hold the umbrella and turn. Hurry. Take the umbrella from that guy. Kido shouted. These 3 people are not here to die, they are here to cause trouble and die together. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. A dozen Chimera Ants rushed forward, and Nephibito realized that something was wrong, so he quickened his pace and appeared in front of Kate. 30 million volts. Star Platinum. Gon and Killua are not just for show. The two realized something when Kate was about to head towards the Chimera Ant's nest. They wouldn't let anyone bother Kate. The 6 realms of reincarnation slowly turn. Kate rolled the lucky dice, 6 times lucky. 6 paths of reincarnation, 6 points, 7 killings. Point taken. Good luck. Chapter 72. 7 kills, Great Cold. The umbrella opened, 6 o'clock lit up, and the LCD screen on the umbrella handle also turned to the word 7 kills. Kate raised the 6 paths of reincarnation and stood still. Nephobito's claws were frozen by a gust of cold air just 2 centimeters away from his head. Start from your fingertips. Spreading to the arms little by little. What? Nephobito was stunned. She tried her best but couldn't move at all. How could this person possess such power? What's causing this extreme cold? However, the next scene. Let Nephobito doubt his own eyes. Kate tilted the umbrella that was covering her back slightly, revealing her face. He raised his right hand and waved at her. Bye. Enjoy yourself. Call out next second. Kate and the other 2 activated the ability to purchase cards, and the 3-dyed water disappeared in front of Nephibit and teleported to the Wanja blind box shop in the Sky Arena. In the cave, Nephobito looked at Kate and the other 2 who had disappeared, his teeth clenched in anger. I was tricked. Damn humans. Damn humans. Anger cannot solve the problem. Nephobito, who is in the center of the 7 killings, Great Cold, has his body freezing bit by bit. She immediately mobilized all her mental power, wrapped her entire body, and fought against the cold. With her as the center, the cold air corroded the surroundings, and most of the bodies of the Chimera Ant Division commanders had been frozen. The Chimera Ants below the division commander had already been frozen into ice sculptures. And the cold air is still spreading deeper into the cave. All Chimera Ants, those who are frozen, mobilize your telekinesis and wrap your whole body, and those who are not frozen, take the queen and retreat. Nephibito used telekinesis to strengthen her voice, and her words spread throughout the entire Chimera Ant cave. The cold air went deep into the cave, freezing everything it touched. Somewhere in a cave, 2 huge ant eggs hanging high on the top of the cave felt the invasion of cold air and cracked. Here, inside Mo Lin's Wanja blind box store. Kate and the other 2 sat on the floor of the Mo Lin blind box shop, gasping for breath. So thrilling. Kate, let's not play like this next time. It was really close. You were less than 2 centimeters away from that Catwoman's claws. Gon still felt a little scared. What are you afraid of? The Chimera Ant's nest is probably destroyed. Ha ha ha. Kate laughed. The 3 of them were completely oblivious to a small fiery red figure approaching quietly. W.A. Law, W.A. Law. Stop sitting on the floor. Mo Lin wants you to go in. Charmander. Long time no see. Gon picked up Charmander and was overjoyed to see his old acquaintance Charmander after escaping death. Everyone, don't sit on the floor, there are sofas there. Mo Lin, who was sitting at the counter, shouted to the 3 people, pointing to the sofa nearby. Mo Lin has seen the entire 2-day activities of the 3 people in the blind box store. Kate has to be the one who knows how to play. Pretend to die, let the opponent underestimate you, go deep behind enemy lines, use a big move, and then use the purchase card to escape back to yourself. This combo is not only smooth, but also very cool to operate. Boss Mo Lin. Excuse me. Kate saw Mo Lin and greeted him. Mo Lin nodded and prepared 3 cups of tea for the 3 of them. Kate, Gon, Killua, I'm sure you're exhausted, take a good rest here. Thank you, Boss Mo Lin. By the way, Boss Mo Lin, we have completed the mission. This time, we are here to submit the mission. Kate pulled a crumpled piece of paper from her pocket and began writing and drawing on it. Then, enter the contents of the paper into the task submission column of the purchase card. Task: Investigation on the invasion of alien species. A certain creature from the Dark Continent accidentally came to the human world. According to reliable information, it landed on the coast of a certain continent. Task requirements: investigate the types of alien species, collect relevant information, and submit it to the blind box store. Task reward: 2W blind box points. Task status: completed. Mission members: Kate, Gon, Killua. Mission evaluation: in this mission, the three people found out the race, structure, approximate strength, weaknesses, and threat level of the invading creatures. The information was very detailed. Reward distribution: Kate, 8,000 blind box points, Gon, 6,000 blind box points, Killua, 6,000 blind box points. Beeb. The three people's purchase cards received news that their blind box orders had been received. By trigger subsequent tasks. When the task submission is completed, a new task follows the next moment. Before they even saw the mission information, the three began frantically clicking the red accept button on the purchase card. Da-da-da. In less than a second, the 6 personnel for this mission were full. Task: eliminate the threat, investigate the cause. The invasive species from the Dark Continent has been investigated clearly. It is a low-level race from the Dark Continent, the Chimera Ants. How could the weak Chimera Ants travel across the ocean from the Dark Continent to the human world? There must be some ulterior motive. Mission requirements: eliminate the threat of Chimera Ants and investigate why Chimera Ants came to the human world. Task reward: 10W blind box points. Task status: not completed. Mission personnel: 6/6. Isaac Netero, Ilmi Zaldik, J Freaks, Hisoka, Killua Zaldik, Kate. New mission? So fast? Mo Lin had just handed over a task to the system when the system sent out a new task. Wait, why do I have a mission too? Only then did Mo Lin discover that there was a new task on his system panel. Task: 1. The true face of the Dark Continent. The Hunter world is a magical world, and the human world is only a small part of this big world. As a traverser and blind box store owner, it is your mission to explore unknown areas and obtain advanced items to upgrade the blind box store. Mission requirements: long-term mission: explore the Dark Continent, compile what you have seen and heard in the Dark Continent into a book and upload it to the system. Don't look at the process, only the results. Mission reward: task status: not completed. Mission personnel: Mo Linear 2. Mystery of the Queen Ant. The arrival of the invasive species Queen Ant into the human world was an intentional act by someone with ulterior motives. Its appearance was not accidental, and there may be bigger secrets behind it. Mission requirements: short-term mission, 1 month limit, investigate the reason why the ants came to the human world. The more information about the Dark Continent, the higher the evaluation level. Task reward: 50,000 blind box points. Task status: not completed. Mission personnel: Mo Lin. 2 tasks? Now it was Mo Lin's turn to be confused. The system actually issued him 2 host-exclusive tasks at once. Both long-term and short-term. What exactly is in the Dark Continent? Is it worth your attention, Master System? Chapter 73. From the first day Mo Lin came to the Hunter world to now, he discovered that the system was intentionally guiding him to explore the Dark Continent. In the original novel, Lao Tse gave very little description of the Dark Continent. We only knew that it was a place that was countless times larger than the human world. Any random thing that comes out of there could very likely destroy the entire human civilization. Human beings are so insignificant in front of the behemoth that is the Dark Continent. After this Chimera Ant crisis, I will head to the Dark Continent to find out what's going on. Mo Lin thought to himself. Bang! The door of the blind box store was pushed open and a gust of wind blew into the house. President Netero, is this the blind box store you mentioned? Hey! Kate, you're here too. Behind Netero, a burly man with white shoulder-length hair and sunglasses walked into the blind box store carrying a big pipe. The person who came was none other than the calm and steady one-star ocean hunter in the Hunter Association. Mo Lao. Keep your voice down. There are so many people here. Netero nodded to Mo Lao beside him. The carefree Mo Lao can easily become familiar with people regardless of the occasion. President Netero, Mr. Mo Lao, welcome to the Wanja Blind Box Store. Mo Lin treats every customer who enters the store politely. This has become a habit for him. After entering the store, Netero exchanged greetings with Mo Lao, Kate, and the others. Then get straight to the point. This time, President Netero secretly brought Mo Lao here to open a wave of blind boxes before going to NGL to enhance his strength. As the saying goes, sharpen your sword before battle, even if it's not sharp it will shine. With 10,000 blind box points, Netero can be said to be a big saver. Boss Mo Lin, 10 legendary blind boxes. Yes, President Netero. Swipe your card and pick up your goods, all in one go. After getting the 10 legendary blind boxes, Netero looked at Mo Lin beside him and signaled him to open the blind boxes according to the instructions on the whiteboard. As an experienced box opener, Netero seems to have discovered a pattern. The probability of a novice opening a blind box and getting gold is extremely high. The next second, Mo Lin's mind moved, and 10 legendary blind boxes floated into the air. In an instant, it was radiant. Thump thump thump. 2 golds and 1 purple. Netero muttered excitedly as he saw the flashing golden light. Okay, okay. My guess was correct. Mo Lin also received the information about the items at the first time and told Netero and Mo Lin the information. Gold items, smoke fruit, from the world of pirates, a natural devil fruit that can turn the body into smoke and produce a large amount of milky white smoke from any part of the body. Do you want to be a white hunter? Chicken talisman, from Jackie Chan Adventure World, the little treasure of the Lord, which can make the holder levitate in the air with telekinesis and control objects to float and move. Purple items, a senzu bean, from the Dragon Ball world, it seems that the senzu beans of Karin are about to be stolen. Netero was very excited when he heard the news, and a smirk appeared on his face. These 10,000 blind box points are really not wasted. Take the Mo Lin's smoke fruit. With it, your strength will definitely increase greatly. Eat it while it's hot. Mo Lin took the smoke fruit, and after listening to Mo Lin's explanation, he felt delighted. The ability of this devil fruit is a perfect match for his nin. It can be said that since his entire body can be transformed into smoke, he can develop more new tricks. Okay, President Netero, I will definitely not let you down. I'll eat it right now. Then, swallow it in one gulp. When Killua saw this scene, he remembered the first time he ate the devil fruit. He was about to remind him, but before he could say anything, he saw Mo Lin swallow the entire devil fruit. These people are really evil, everyone should be reminded. Well, vomit. The sound of Mo Lin's vomiting echoed throughout the blind box store. After a busy period, the blind box store returned to peace again. Netero took Gon and others and left the blind box store, preparing to go to NGL. This trip was a fruitful one. Mo Lin obtained the smoke fruit, Netero got the chicken talisman, and there was also a senzu bean as a guarantee. I made a fortune. Gon and the other 2 saved the newly acquired blind box points and prepared to start a new mission. Mo Lin was the only one there, lying on a recliner in the blind box shop, holding Charmander. Check your host panel. Owner of Wanja Blind Box Store, Mo Lin. None personal skills, Nin's 4 basic skills, World Substitute, God's Alibi, Emperor Engine, and 3 Color Domineering Mastery. Own Blind Box, no items, 3 Fairy Beans, Charmander, Primary Fairy Body. Blind Box point 31950. The blind box point has reached 31,950 points. Would you like to be extravagant? Mo Lin was thinking in his mind that this mission was to investigate the Dark Continent. What if he was not strong enough and died outside? There would not even be anyone to collect his body. Take a gamble. Bicycle turns into motorcycle. System, give me 2 epic blind boxes and 10 legendary blind boxes, luxury. Too luxurious. Mo Lin felt a little regretful after buying it, as he was a little impulsive. People will panic when they have no money, and they will be even more panicked if they don't have any blind box points. However, when the epic blind box appeared in front of Mo Lin, all the panic was thrown behind him. Epic blind box, made entirely of bronze, the bronze blind box shows traces of time, and the light floating in the air emits bursts of chill. Holy crap! So cool! Mo Lin's mind moved, and the epic blind box opened. The dark bronze-green light flickered in the house. Color. The first epic blind box came out in color. So dazzling. Is this the color? Ah! Mo Lin waved his hands, covered his eyes, and dared not look directly. The 12 rays of light flickered away, and 12 objects floated in the air. 1 color and 2 golds. Colored items, color hacks, tons of damage. From Cloud Top World, get 2 artifacts of Triforce, you get tons of stats. Artifact Trinity Force, plus 25% attack speed, plus 25 spell power, plus 25 mana, plus 25 armor, plus 25 magic resistance, plus 250 health. Tons of everything. Gold items, Dragon Talisman, from the world of Jackie Chan Adventures, the explosive power can make the talisman itself burst into flames. It is the natal talisman of the Holy Lord and can give the holder powerful explosive power. Pig Talisman, from the world of Jackie Chan adventures, the power of laser, can make the holder's eyes emit lightning, which can destroy everything. Seeing the 3 items, Mo Lin exclaimed. Damn, it's so practical. The power of 3 phases adds tons of attributes, 2-3 phases double the tons of attributes. Fighting power is at full strength. The Dragon Talisman and the Pig Talisman are also items that directly enhance combat power, and can be given to Charmander when necessary. Exploding Cyclops Charmander, it's really take a hot. After putting the items into the system space, Mo Lin put on his backpack and prepared to set off. Target, NGL. Chapter 74. Eliminate the threat, investigate the cause task force. Netero took the lead in creating a new group on the purchase card, the NGL Exploration Team. The other 2 members of the team, Hisoka and Ilmi, went to NGL on their own and contacted them on the purchase card. The other 3 people led by Netero went their separate ways after leaving the Sky Arena. He has something more important to do. Go to V5's headquarters to persuade the 5 major countries to send troops and discuss the plan to deal with the Chimera Ant incident. V5 headquarters. Inside the central conference room. The 5 major countries, the Burgros United Nations, the Suherta United States, the Okima Federation, the Mingbo Republic, and the ancient Ganyo Kingdom. Representatives from various countries, plus V5 United Nations Chairman Saline and Netero, sat around a round table in the conference room. The topic was already half discussed and the atmosphere at the round table was already a little tense. V5 UN President Saline chuckled and looked towards Netero. President Netero, this is the United Nations, not the Hunter Association. Saline, you should be thankful that I didn't twist your head off. Saline's face changed when he heard Netero's words, and he remembered the last time Netero came to him for help. According to V5's instructions, he has to trip up Netero, the president of the Hunter Association. But who could have thought that this would actually happen? But Saline is very confident that he has V5's protection, so there is no need to be afraid of Netero. Even if he is the strongest human being. But in front of the steel torrent, it could only be annihilated. Saline ignored Netero and looked at the representative beside him. The representative of the Okima Federation looked at Netero with serious eyes, and there was a hint of warning in his tone. President Netero, Chimera Ants are only a Class B threat. Threats of this level can be dealt with by the Hunter Association. Hunter Association? Netero frowned and stared at the representative of the Okima Federation. This guy is the worst among these 5 guys. I want the hunters from the Hunter Association to handle the Chimera Ant incident. Isn't this aimed at destroying the entire Hunter Association? Full of bad intentions. Although the Chimera Ants are a Class B threat, they are outnumbered. Without the help of the army and weapons, the Hunter Association may have to sacrifice most of its people to resolve this threat. Moreover, the Hunter Association is now in a very embarrassing situation. There are signs of division within the association, and the faction headed by Paristan seems to be plotting something. In addition, Bai Yang has always wanted to challenge the New World again, but he was restrained because Netero did not allow him to go there before his death. Finally, it is also a feeling of Netero, among humans, he is the only one with the most experience in traveling to the Dark Continent. Moreover, V5's proposal to go to the Dark Continent seems to have become quite frequent over the years. But he rejected them all. It seems that this Chimera Ant crisis is a fuse. Have Netero go to NGL to deal with the Chimera Ant world, preferably die there. So that the plan to go to the Dark Continent can go smoothly. The old man looked at the representatives of several countries in front of him and snorted in his heart. Burgros UN representative, seeing Netero's expression, tried to smooth things over. President Netero, V5 has its own decisions, and this matter is not decided by just a few of us. From the very beginning of this conversation, the 5 representatives of V5 forced Netero to take on the task of going to NGL alone to resolve the Chimera Ant incident. They are certain that Netero, the strongest man in the human race, will accept this mission and fight against the soon-to-be-born king of the Chimera Ants. This is the loneliness of a master. The most direct purpose is to end Netero's prestige and domination in the Hunter Association, so as to take the lead in the subsequent Dark Continent exploration plan. The representative of the ancient Ganyo Kingdom tried to smooth things over and said with a smile. President Netero, as long as you agree to the previous plan, V5 will still be a firm supporter of the Hunter Association. When he said this, a sneer flashed across the faces of the other representatives. It's useless. It's of no use at all. Netero had refused a dozen times. This stubborn old man always brings up the disasters in the Dark Continent. Several people sighed helplessly. President Netero won't agree to that. Let's talk about the Chimera Ant crisis. However, Netero's next words left the 5 representatives dumbfounded. I agree. After the Chimera Ant threat is resolved, I will personally lead the team to explore the Dark Continent. What's going on? Do you agree so readily? The sudden words left the 5 representatives confused for a moment. It would be best if the team heading to the Dark Continent was led by Guildmaster Netero. He was experienced, had explored the continent twice, and could respond calmly when faced with a crisis. But, what could make this old man change his mind? The 5 representatives knew that Netero had been refusing to go to the Dark Continent because he was afraid of bringing back disaster. However, corresponding to the disaster are the huge benefits brought by the Dark Continent. Human greed is the driving force. No matter how big the disaster is, as long as the top leaders are still alive, human society will continue to function as usual. Netero looked at the representatives in disbelief and continued. I said, I agree. But I have my conditions. Netero nodded. Everything became easier now, and the representatives of the 5 major countries immediately changed their expressions. He looked at Netero with a smile on his face and his tone was very kind. Only the UN representative, Salin, had a grim look on his face. President, please feel free to ask. We will report the truth to V5. First. Netero pointed at the livid-looking Salin and spoke. I don't think Salin is suitable for the position of UN President. Those who understand will understand. After Netero compromised, the 5 representatives of V5 looked at Salin in unison. His eyes are full of pity. President Netero has given a favor, and we V5 must return the favor. Who said the President of the United Nations is nothing in front of V5? In order to please the President, I have to trouble Lord Salin to move away and stay somewhere else for the rest of his life. Seeing V5's gaze, Salin's face immediately turned pale. I am just a victim. Leaving the position of UN President is more painful than killing him. Salin was taken away, and Netero stated the second condition. Secondly, I must decide who will go to the Dark Continent. I must review what V5 puts in there. Both parties can discuss it. Netero backed off and the V5 representative nodded. And the third and final one. In this expedition against the Chimera Ants, I will personally deal with the high-end combat power of the Chimera Ants. I don't need Rose. V5 only needs to deal with the Chimera Ant soldiers. Netero's last condition really surprised the 5 representatives of V5. Netero waved his hand and turned away. In response to Netero's words, the 5 representatives of V5 smiled contemptuously. Netero is old in their eyes. Without Rose, can you defeat the Ant King with just your old body? Chapter 75. NGL Territory. Eliminate the threat, investigate the cause. Members of the task force arrived in NGL one after another. Kate, Gon, and Killua are a group of 3, while Illumi and Hisoka are a separate group. All the information Kate and the other 2 had investigated about the Chimera Ant race was also uploaded to the purchase card, the NGL Exploration Team Group. NGL Exploration Team Hisoka, everyone, I have arrived in NGL. Do we need to meet up? Kate, not for now, wait for President Netero to arrive. I'm with Gon and Killua now. Illumi, oh, Killua. Why don't you say anything? Gon, he pretended not to see it. And Hisoka and Killua's brother, long time no see. Netero, everyone. I have something to do now, I will be there later. The messages in the group are endless like mushrooms after rain. It can be said that the members of this team are all old acquaintances. Hisoka sat cross-legged on the trunk of a big tree, looking at the Chimera Ant nest in the distance with a playful smile on his face. Chimera Ants? These creatures are really interesting. On the other side, Illumi kept moving in the jungle, using the mana needle in his hand to kill one Chimera Ant soldier after another. He was getting closer and closer to the Chimera Ant's nest. Kate and the other 2 found a safe place to take a short rest. Buzz. Suddenly, a breathtaking and terrifying aura began to spread in the air. The aftermath caused everyone in the exploration team to feel a palpitation in their hearts. They all stood up, jumped to the top of the tree, and looked at the Chimera Ant nest in the distance. The Ant King is born. In the heart of NGL, a Chimera Ant nest. After a long wait, the king of the Chimera Ants was finally born. Inside the cave, on a large sickbed, the queen ant was lying there wailing in pain. Ah! The queen ant's thin body has a round belly that bulges high, as if something is about to burst out. At this moment, in front of the queen ant's window, all the Chimera Ant Division commanders and the 3 guards of the direct escort team held their breath and stared nervously at the queen ant's constantly rolling abdomen. It's about to be born. The king of the Chimera Ants is about to be born. Nephibito looked at the king who was about to be born, and his eyes flashed with a gleam of light. Only with the existence of the king, the existence of the direct guard team would have meaning. In the eyes of the direct guards, the king ant is greater than the queen ant. However, there was a chimera ant that did not want the king ant to be born, and the queen ant lying on the sickbed endured the pain. Use a trembling voice to comfort the fetus in the belly. Slow down. Slow down. It's too early. The queen ant's mission is to give birth to the king ant. She doesn't want the king ant in her belly to not reach the most perfect state due to premature birth. She loves the ant king more than herself. Shut up, boom. A punch burst out of the chest, and the ant king in the queen ant's belly got angry. The king's majesty cannot be resisted. Immediately afterwards, the ant king's other hand broke out of his chest, and his 2 hands stretched open the queen ant's abdomen. The king of the Chimera Ant tribe is officially born. The birth of a king means the death of the queen ant. What's more, the queen ant's lower body is smashed to pieces by the born king ant. Blood, limbs, organs scattered on the floor of the cave. The queen ant who fed all the Chimera ants came to the end of her life. The newborn ant king exuded endless malice, which rushed out of the cave and rushed towards the entire NGL. For a time, non-people in NGL, an unforgettable feeling of palpitations arose in my heart. Once the king ant is born, the queen ant is no longer needed. The king left the Chimera ant nest with his direct guard. Several division commanders within the Chimera ant chose to follow the ant king, while others left alone. For a moment, people left and the tea was forgotten. Only Corrido shed 2 lines of tears as he looked at the queen wailing in pain on the ground. Queen, please hold on for a moment. I need someone to rescue you. Cordo, the king, how is the king? With every word the queen uttered, she felt sharp pain all over her body. King, the king is fine. Queen, please don't say anything, I want to save you. Hearing that the king was fine, the queen of the Chimera Ants felt relieved and stared at the empty ceiling of the cave, feeling relieved. Dimly, she recalled her days in the Dark Continent. The Chimera Ant colony has to struggle for food every day, and she is just one of thousands of Chimera Ant queens. The only mission of life is to give birth to the next Ant King. Now, the Ant King is born, and the Chimera Ant race is continued. Sooner or later, the Ant King will return to the Dark Continent with the Chimera Ant race. This side, inside the Hunter Association. Netero summoned the 12 earthly branches to start the meeting. However, in front of the big round table, only 8 of the 12 earthly branches were present. The 8 people stared at the seat in the center of the round table. Netero sat there, stroking his beard gently, watching the 8 people who arrived at the scene. 10 minutes had passed, and Netero just watched without saying anything. Netero's eyes were fixed on the 8 earthly branch members present, and he felt a little uneasy. It seems that the rest of the people can't come. Netero sighed softly, standing up and tapping his hands on the table. Everyone! Thank you for coming. Everyone's eyes are looking forward to it. I have an announcement. Announcing something? Does the announcement require our presence? Just let the beanflower man pass it to us directly. What's wrong with this old man? Pariston looked at Netero and raised his eyebrows slightly. What things require the collection of the 12 earthly branches? Nan is going to abdicate? Apart from Netero's abdication, no one seemed interested in what the old man was talking about. Everyone! After the Chimera Ant incident is resolved, I will personally lead the team to explore the Dark Continent. Bang Pariston, who was still wondering whether Netero was going to abdicate, stood up in shock after hearing the old man's words. The chair under my butt also tripped me. President Netero, are you saying that you want to lead the team to explore the Dark Continent yourself? Chen Long's tone was also full of disbelief. The other earthly branches also looked at Netero in confusion. Is today April Fool's Day? How come President Netero, who had always been against going to the Dark Continent, changed his mind? However, Netero did not give them time to think and continued to release the bombs. Next, I will lead Mo Lao to NGL alone to solve the Chimera Ant problem. All remaining hunters stay where they are. If the news just now was a heavy blow to the 8 earthly branches, now with this news, it seems that Netero is completely throwing his life away. Human power is limited. How dare you solo the Chimera Ant Dungeon with just Mo Lin, a 1-star ocean hunter? Can you defeat the Ant King? Can you handle all those Chimera Ants all over the mountains by yourself? Etc. All over the mountains and plains? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you are notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.